I am Sarah Ades. I am the Associate Dean for Student Affairs with the Graduate School, and it is my absolute pleasure to welcome you all today to Penn State and to graduate school. Congratulations on getting here. So on behalf of Dean Regina Vassilatos-Yonkin, I'd like to welcome you to Penn State. I hope you have an exciting tenure as graduate students here. Our job today, though, is to get you started on that path. So logistically, I realize it's kind of a pain to get through security, so those in line, just find your seats. We'll have some talks, we'll have a break. If anyone absolutely needs to leave to use the restrooms, out that back door where it says restrooms, you can go out there and take a right, and then there are also some out this door over here. There's water in the back if you need something to drink. Please take your cups and throw them away to ease the cleanup afterwards. Okay, so let's get started. It is my absolute pleasure to start things off by introducing Dr. Nick Jones, who's Penn State's Executive Vice President and Provost. So what does this mean? It's a bunch of titles. It means that Dr. Jones, in his vice president role, is centrally involved in most of the university operations. And as provost, he's the university's chief academic officer. He's responsible for the administration of all Penn State research and educational programs. He's charged with enabling and driving the success of nearly 100,000 students, both on campus at University Park, which is where we all are, and at the other campuses of Penn State. And this includes all of you. He invests a considerable amount of time into our large, diverse community of graduate students and ensures that your learning experiences during your time at Penn State are meaningful and valuable. He believes strongly in the process of discovery through graduate study and research and the many positive impacts that result from that. So we're thrilled to have the provost join us this afternoon to say a few words. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Jones.
Do I need that?
No, you can use that.
Well, thank you, Sarah, and good afternoon, everyone. I'm thrilled to be here. The part that Sarah left out of that introduction is I sign your diplomas. I know you're probably not thinking about diplomas right now, but sometime you will be, and my signature will be on it. So in signing your diplomas, I am attesting to the fact that you have earned your degree from the Pennsylvania State University. And before I sign, I need to be sure that you really have. And so all of those duties that Sarah described are essential to that. So I'm delighted to have the opportunity to be here and say a few words to you as you prepare to begin your graduate studies. On behalf of Penn State, I welcome you to University Park. You all worked hard to get here, and I hope you will get a lot out of today's orientation. This will probably be one of your most leisurely experiences as a Penn State graduate student, so enjoy it. Starting Monday, you'll have classes and studying and research and writing and so much more. I'm confident that you're up to the challenge and very glad that you're here. I had to actually change the number, 39 years ago, I found myself where you are today, ready to begin my graduate studies. In my case, I was leaving my home in New Zealand for Los Angeles, which was very exciting, as you might imagine. But I was much less informed about U.S. graduate schools and graduate education than I am sure all of you are today. Through a series of what I would characterize as somewhat random and serendipitous circumstances, I ended up applying to only one graduate program at Caltech. I was thrilled to be accepted, especially considering that I didn't have a backup plan. Back then, of course, I could never have imagined that I would be standing here in 2019 in State College, Pennsylvania, as Executive Vice President and Provost, welcoming graduate students to this terrific university. What I do know is that my graduate education was a vitally important step along the path to my current role, which I've held here at Penn State for about 6 years. Looking back, it was probably graduate school the most important step I took. Graduate school marked the beginning of a transformative period of my life. In the first year, I met classmates from dozens of countries. We worked hard, and we had a little fun as well. Over the course of 5 years, we built deep and long-standing friendships. Even now, hardly a week goes by that I don't communicate in some way with a friend from graduate school. And in fact, just last week, I had an email from my former office mate. We did not fully realize then probably how important our graduate studies would be in preparing us for our future careers. Some of my classmates ended up working in industry, while others took jobs in government and academia. All of them are, in the broadest sense, successful and accomplished people. The hard work done more than 3 decades ago really paid off. I am sure that you will find the same sense of camaraderie and fellowship here at Penn State, meeting new people, exploring the many cultural experiences and activities on campus and in the community. You might expect me to say this, but I will say it anyway. You have picked an outstanding place to continue your education. Our graduate school is one of the largest in the United States, with more than 14,000 graduate students enrolled at University Park and several other Penn State campuses. The graduate school has awarded nearly 130,000 graduate degrees to date. We are very proud of this fact and of our exemplary faculty and degree programs, many of which are nationally and globally renowned. In its latest rankings, U.S. News & World Report cited many Penn State graduate school programs of study among the top 50 or better nationwide. The recognized fields range from the sciences, engineering, and business to medicine, the humanities, and higher ed. What makes this especially exciting is not just that Penn State is a terrific place to pursue graduate study. It's also that we're committed to ensuring that all individuals, regardless of ethnicity, gender, or other personal attribute, have the opportunity to achieve their full potential as scholars and professionals. Our international graduate student enrollment includes more than 3,100 learners from China, India, South Korea, Taiwan, Turkey, Canada, Germany, and a host of other countries. We're proud of our efforts to increase the number of highly qualified, diverse, and underrepresented students who enroll in the graduate school. All of you are joining a vibrant community here in central Pennsylvania. Contributing greatly to this community are our graduate faculty, all of whom are dedicated to ongoing exploration, investigation, and learning in the challenging fields that you are all pursuing. Do graduate students benefit from attending a stellar research university like Penn State? You bet. You wouldn't be here if they didn't. Our students are learning from scholars who are not only writing textbooks, but also making discoveries that have not yet made it into textbooks. Our faculty are constantly exploring and pushing the boundaries at the cutting edge of knowledge by conducting research that will have meaningful and lasting impacts. And I have to add that every now and again, those same faculty push the boundaries of my patience, but that's a consequence that is worth it. This research supports not only the university's strategic priorities, but also signature initiatives that are vital to the university's success. The impacts of some high-profile endeavors literally could be life-changing. Among them is One Penn State 2025, a comprehensive rethinking of how we structure learning and support student success. This initiative leverages our strength and history as one multi-campus university, reinforces our commitment to learners and their access to a world-class education, and builds on the attributes of the digital age in which we now live. One Penn State 2025 has 5 guiding principles that will make our university more integrated and agile, and you will be here while we work to implement these. We aim to provide a seamless student experience, achieve curricular coherence across the institution, design relevant and responsive programs, engage our learners throughout their lifetimes, and achieve the highest level of efficiency regarding how we invest university resources. This is an ambitious but essential initiative for the future of Penn State, for undergraduate, graduate, and professional students, and you will hear more about this over time. Its evolution will depend on substantial partnerships and our ability to find and direct resources toward an evolved, transformative approach to higher education. Other signature initiatives at Penn State include the Consortium to Combat Substance Abuse, housed in Penn State's Social Science Research Institute. The consortium is charged with developing and implementing programs, policies, and practices to address the opioid epidemic by preventing and treating addiction and mitigating its impacts. We also have the Humanities Initiative, which positions Penn State as a national leader in this space, the Center for Immersive Technologies, which is focused on transformative technologies such as virtual and augmented reality, and the Consortium for Integrated Energy Systems, a visionary initiative to build capacity in energy research and education. Penn State prides itself on fulfilling its 3-pronged mission of teaching, research, and service. In turn, the graduate school's mission is to prepare you to advance knowledge and understanding, drive innovation, and help address complex global problems. So, realize this, and I hope you are excited about it. You are part of something that is much bigger than Penn State. You are all on paths to make major positive contributions to society, both directly and indirectly. Along the way, you'll have ample opportunities for exploration outside of class, and I strongly encourage you to carve out some time to take advantage of them. The Center for the Performing Arts at Penn State recently unveiled its schedule, which includes popular productions like The Book of Mormon, Rent, and Jersey Boys. The Palmer Museum of Art also has events and exhibitions scheduled throughout the academic year. Also, right here in the Bryce Jordan Center, we have some concerts coming up that might interest some of you: the Jonas Brothers, Shinedown, the Chainsmokers, 21 Pilots, a little something for just about everyone's musical tastes. You can attend our many men's and women's athletic events, try some of the best ice cream you'll ever have at our renowned Berkey Creamery, and if you haven't done so, take a selfie at the Nittany Lion Shrine or with the actual Nittany Lion. The lion actually gets around campus more than you might think. Ultimately, your Penn State experiences in and out of the classroom will be what you make of them. Under the visionary leadership of Dr. Regina Vassiliadis-Youngkin, you will have stellar support and guidance to help make your experiences truly extraordinary. I can't emphasize enough how fortunate you are to have Jean as your Vice Provost for Graduate Education and Dean of the Graduate School. A Penn State alumna who earned her PhD in animal nutrition, Jean is an exceptional educator, researcher, and administrator, and she is genuinely invested in your success. Jean is currently on a temporary leave, but Dr. Michael Verderami, Senior Associate Dean of the Graduate School, is serving as the acting Vice Provost and Dean until her return. Shortly, Dr. William Clark, Associate Dean of the Graduate School, and also a Penn State alumnus, will speak and share more about their work and the leadership and support they provide. Rest assured, you are in great hands. I know firsthand how excelling as a graduate student can lead to exciting opportunities. The Graduate School and Penn State's academic colleges continue to work together and with our corporate partners to increase the number of job opportunities available to Penn State postgraduates. If you want valuable career connections, this university is definitely a great place for that. For now, of course, it's time for you to begin your graduate studies, which will require a lot of work. Back in the 1980s, when I was a graduate student, for most of you, well before your time, actually, maybe well before most of you were born, there was a Canadian band called Loverboy, and they had a popular song called Working for the Weekend. Anybody know that song? Okay, I figured that might be the case, so I brought it with me. Okay, the song goes like this. Okay, you might recall that song. If you don't, you can go online and have a listen. Our version of that song as graduate students, and we just busted ourselves up about it, was a little different. It was everyone's working on the weekend. Soon, you will all be working for the weekend. And if we're being honest here, as a Penn State graduate student, you too will probably be working on the weekend. It's all part of your journey, which inevitably will lead to tremendous accomplishments. I want you to be as successful in your lives as you aspire to be. So work hard, take it all in, be proud of what you do here at Penn State, and do have some fun along the way. I just want to finish with a warning, and this is from a personal story. People used to come to my office and notice that on my bookshelf I had 3 volumes of a textbook called The Feynman Lectures on Physics. I'm an engineer. And often people would see those books and say, oh, those are Feynman Lectures on Physics, and you went to Caltech. Did you take a physics class from Richard Feynman? To which my response was, I wish I had, but I didn't quite get around to it. So do not, and there's a whole lot of other things where I say, actually, I did do that while I was a grad student in California, or I did do that while I lived in Pasadena. But do not look back some years from now on your graduate experience having to use a phrase to somebody who asked you a question like, while I was a grad student at Penn State, I wish I had. Just do it and take full advantage of everything that Penn State and Central Pennsylvania offers to you. Work hard, play hard, and most of all, have an amazing experience here at Penn State. Best of luck and welcome to our community.
Thank you. Okay, so it's my pleasure next to introduce Dr. William Clark. He's an associate dean with the graduate school at Penn State, and his focus is on graduate program review and assessment to ensure that all of our students have a quality education. He's been instrumental in developing tools to track outcomes for our students as they complete their degrees and developing a database of what they go on to do afterwards. So for example, we've been tracking where PhD graduates go on to work. The top 3 companies that have been hiring our PhD graduates are Intel, Google, and Facebook. Students also go on to postdoctoral researcher or faculty positions at top schools like the University of Pennsylvania, Harvard, Duke. And we're looking forward to see where all of you finish, where you end up after your time at Penn State. But that's getting a little bit ahead of myself, given that this is orientation and you haven't even started classes yet. So please join me in welcoming Dr. Clark to the lectern, and he will officially welcome you on behalf of the graduate school and give you some information about the graduate school itself.
That's me. I'm William Clark. I'm one of the associate deans in the graduate school, and I trust that my colleagues will allow me to speak for the graduate school in expressing how excited we are that you're here, and to wish you all the luck as you progress through your graduate programs. What I want to do with the time I have is to go through a few slides and present some overarching description of some of the assets and some of the resources that the graduate school offers. I found from Dr. Jones's talk that he and I are roughly the same age because I graduated from Penn State as an undergraduate 39 years ago and entered graduate school at that point in time. So had a lot of experience in graduate school, a lot of experience as a faculty member, and again, we're very honored and excited that you're joining the Penn State community for graduate programs. The graduate school is located at Kern Graduate Building. So even though each of you has a home in a particular graduate program or in a particular college, particular academic department, you also have a home in the graduate school. I don't know if you know this or not, but virtually every visitor to Penn State, students, parents, children, and so on, flock to Kern Graduate Building. Perhaps that's because the Kern Graduate Building is located directly next to the Penn State Nittany Lion Shrine. But nonetheless, if you know where the Nittany Lion statue is, you know where Kern Building is. We're directly behind it. And the Kern Graduate Building has within it a number of administrative units that might be of use to you as you go through your graduate careers. Inside the graduate building at Kern is the Graduate Enrollment Services Office that in many ways processed your credentials when you applied to Penn State. The thesis office, which I think when you visit that office, you'll be quite happy because it'll be at that point in time that you're nearing the end of your graduate program. If you do come to Kern, you'll notice that we have some construction going on and renovations going on the first floor, and the upshot of that is that 2 other of our key administrative units within the graduate school will be located temporarily in other buildings. So I want to bring to your attention the Graduate Writing Center, which will be located elsewhere. That will be in 111 Marriott Foundation Building. And the Office of Graduate Educational Equity will be temporarily for the next year or so located in 119 Greenberg Building. Dr. Stephanie Danette Preston, who serves as an Associate Dean of the Graduate School and directs that Office of Graduate Educational Equity, will speak to you shortly. We hope you take the time to visit the building, take a look in the lobby. We have plaques on the wall honoring doctoral alumni of the graduate school, and at some point in several years. We hope to add your name to those plaques as graduates of the university. On the screen, you can see a depiction of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I'm happy to say that I was born and raised in Pennsylvania, and those of you who are from this area recognize how important an institution Penn State University is to this state. And the map depicts the presence that Penn State has inside the Commonwealth. So you'll notice that there are 24 campuses spread throughout the geographic space of Pennsylvania. I attended one of those so-called Commonwealth campuses for the first 2 years of my undergraduate experience down in I think if you look at the map, it's the furthest east one on the map. It's called Abington, and I did 2 years there before coming here for my final 2 years. Some of these campuses are in the way that Abington was when I was there, is a school where you would take your first 2 years of undergraduate work and then come here for your last 2 years. But several of them also are now 4-year baccalaureate institutions. And you can go to these various campuses and, in some cases, stay all 4 years if you want. Obviously, the campus in the direct middle of the state is where we're sitting today at University Park. And of course, as Dr. Jones mentioned, this is the largest campus in the whole Penn State system with about 45,000 students total, out of about 100,000 students who will be enrolled at Penn State throughout these 24 campuses this academic year. You'll notice that several of these campuses, in fact, 5 of them have stars attached to them. And if you go from the upper left in Erie, Pennsylvania, through University Park, down to the state capitol in Harrisburg, and next to her in Hershey, and then down in the suburbs of Philadelphia at Great Valley, 5 of these campuses offer graduate education. And the graduate school here at Penn State in Kern Building, we help administer all those programs with the help of local administrators in each of those campuses. Some of these campuses offer doctoral degrees, for example, at Harrisburg and at the Medical College at Hershey. Obviously here at University Park, others offer master's degrees only. But nonetheless, if you take a look at this map and just take a vision of it, this shows you the breadth of Penn State and its impact in Pennsylvania. A large university system, 24 campuses, 100,000 students, and 5 different campuses throughout the state that offer graduate education. Obviously, we have, with that kind of scale and that kind of size, a large diversity of programs of study, and they're listed here on this slide. And you can see that we roughly have 200 graduate majors on offer, 100 doctoral majors, as you can see there, most of which are research doctoral degrees, PhD degrees. Also a growing number of professional doctorate programs on offer. And on the right, you can see that at the master's degree level, we have over 100 research master's degree programs, MA or MS degrees, and almost equal number of professional master's degrees on offer as well. And so you can imagine the diversity of the coursework that's on offer, the diversity of the faculty on the campus to be able to offer such a wide breadth of programs such as these. Given the scale and size of Penn State, the next slide will give you a sort of numerical indicator of that. These are the number of degrees conferred in the last academic year at the various campuses that offer graduate education. And if you look at the bottom for the totals, you can see that Penn State awarded almost 700 doctoral degrees in the last academic year. And when you add the 3,500 or so master's degrees awarded, you get the number of 4,195 total graduate degrees awarded just in the last academic year. Again, with the scale that we see here in these numbers, Penn State is consistently ranked in the top 15 universities in the country in terms of the doctoral degree granted during the last academic year. As you can see, we awarded almost 700 doctoral degrees, and the last time a ranking of doctoral degrees awarded was taken in 2017, Penn State ranked 12th among graduate doctoral institutions in the United States, of which there's 428. So it's a large enterprise with lots of options and lots of degrees on offer. As a sign of its status as a comprehensive institution, in 2017, in that same ranking, Penn State ranked among the top 16 U.S. institutions in the number of doctoral degrees awarded in 6 of the 8 subcategories of disciplines as defined by the National Science Foundation. So they divide up the substantive programs in graduate education into 8 categories. In 6 of those categories, Penn State was highly ranked in terms of the number of degrees awarded. So a very eclectic and multifaceted graduate program for you to take advantage of. One thing I should say to reiterate something that Dr. Jones mentioned is that with such an array of programs on offer, we certainly encourage you to branch out, go to talks and lectures outside your principal field. I can tell you that many of my best experiences in graduate school and many of my best experiences in over 30 years as a faculty member have been the friendships I made and what I learned from people outside my own discipline. So here you are at Penn State with 200 graduate degree programs on offer, a gigantic faculty across those programs. I would reiterate that we would encourage you to branch out and see what the entire institution has to offer. As you might guess, when a university this size with this many graduate programs is up and running, and it's a research institution of significance in the country, you see a large amount of research expenditures done at the university. This chart shows you that in the last calendar year, there was research expenditures at Penn State almost hitting the $1 billion mark, $927 million. And those bars on the chart separate expenditures from federal sources like the National Science Foundation, National Institutes of Health, and so on, from those that are non-governmental like industry-rated or industry-sourced investment in research. And Penn State ranks very, very highly in both of these areas. As you can see, number 23 overall among 906 research-related institutions in the country. And number 38 if you just isolate and focus on research money that comes from non-governmental sources in industry. So a very large research enterprise. This is why you're here, to get advanced degrees in your discipline, engage in significant research. As you can see from the chart, research here is well-funded, well-supported in terms of the programs on offer, the number of faculty and their expertise, and outside sources of funding so that you can execute your research and accomplish what you came here to accomplish. Penn State is among the best universities nationally in terms of creating an environment in which to conduct interdisciplinary research. And Dr. Jones mentioned several institutes in his opening remarks, and we would like to emphasize that as well. Part of what helps to support and promote this effort are these various research institutes that are not embedded strictly in one college. They share faculty across college lines very frequently, university-wide institutes. A great engine for collaboration among graduate students, a great engine for collaboration among faculty. And this is a growing trend in higher education, certainly in graduate education, the team approach to problem solving, and that requires that organizations be built that transcend strict, narrow departmental lines. And Penn State certainly has a number of these. Some of the research institutes are listed here on this slide. The Huck Institutes are the life sciences, the Institute for Cyber Science, Energy and the Environment, Materials Research, the Social Science Research Institute that Dr. Jones mentioned, a Cancer Institute, and Clinical and Translational Science Institute. We're very proud at Penn State of the Millennium Science Complex. There's a depiction of it here. If you have seen this building, it sticks in your memory because it looks architecturally unique in the sense that you don't know how it's standing up the way it looks. It's a cantilever approach. A significant portion of the building is underground. It's built in a very specific way to support a lab located underneath the garden section to reduce any vibration at all. So it's a very unique building, and a lot of the science effort in these institutes crossing interdisciplinary lines is located there as well. Penn State, as we saw in a previous slide, has a significant amount of federal government funding for research. Much of that is defense-related. The United States Department of Defense is one of the biggest sponsors of research at Penn State because we have specialized high-tech laboratories with major support from the Office of Naval Research. These laboratories in defense-related areas include the Applied Research Laboratory here at University Park. It includes the Electro-Optics Center in the western part of Pennsylvania outside of the city of Pittsburgh. And these are important assets and provide opportunities for undergraduates and graduates to gain experience, to be exposed to cutting-edge research in fields like artificial intelligence, acoustics, lasers, and fiber optics. It is also, again, a rich source of potential colleagues for collaboration, which is, again, a theme that we'd like to emphasize to you today. Even though Penn State has a heavy research footprint in the hard sciences, it's a well-balanced institution, and we have many, many research opportunities, institutes, fellowships, and so on in the arts and humanities as well. Many of these are housed within colleges, and so they are shared by the various departments in each of those colleges. And this list that you see here is just an indicative list. It's not a complete list, but you can see as well that there's significant resources dedicated on the humanities and social sciences side of the university to create the comprehensive, balanced institution that we have here at Penn State. So we're very proud of this fact that the breadth of the programs is wide and it covers all aspects of the campus. During your graduate student careers, which may take several years, there are a number of processes in place to resolve any conflicts that may come up, any problems that you may have. As you can see from this chart, we have a rudimentary flow chart for where you should start to solve any problems you have, any questions you have, any issues that arise. And like almost anything, most of the expertise resides locally, and so most problems as a first order of business should be attempted to be resolved locally with your advisor. If that doesn't solve your problem, you can go to the head of your graduate program or the head of your department. If no resolution is available there, each college in the university has an associate dean for graduate education, and that's a next level resource that you could avail yourself of to solve your problem. And of course, if that fails to resolve the problem to everyone's satisfaction, we have a question mark next. Where would we go outside of your college? You would go to the graduate school. So the graduate school is your home as well as your program and your department. And someone you've already seen is the university ombudsman for solving problems that involve graduate education and graduate students, and that's our own Dr. Sarah Ades, who opened the session today. She's the Associate Dean for Graduate Student Affairs, and part of that mandate involves helping graduate students resolve issues that come up during their graduate education. So we encourage you, of course, to take advantage of the resources, not just in your own program or department or college, but in the graduate school as well. The graduate school tries to support graduate students above and beyond what colleges and programs do, and to that effect, we organize and operate a number of workshops and make available a number of resources, and some of them are listed here. And you can see there's a grant writing workshop. As you know, in many fields of endeavor, in many disciplines in higher education, labs and materials are needed, and very often success in those fields requires external grants. We saw the chart showing research expenditures. Much of that comes from outside the university. And so grant writing is an important skill. My side of the university, which was the social sciences, that was less important, but it's certainly in the life sciences and the engineering and so on. Grant writing skills are quite important. We have workshops to help you develop skills so that you can support your own research when you graduate from the university. Our doctoral career exploration workshops. Sarah mentioned that we track career prospects of our graduates, and so we're very keen on making sure that we keep up with trends in the market, both academic and in the private sector. And so we operate a number of workshops to help prepare you for getting in the job market and doing all that. I mentioned at the very beginning of my comments that there's a graduate writing center that helps with your dissertation writing, your thesis writing, and that certainly is a well-utilized asset that the graduate school offers. And then there's graduate research fellowships as well. And again, the graduate school will sponsor these sorts of programs above and beyond what goes on in your own college or program. So it's useful as you go through your careers to keep an eye not just on what's going on in your lab or in your department or in your program, but to pay attention to the things on offer from the graduate school above and beyond that, because again, we're also your home. We have a series of ways to recognize the excellence of our graduate students. Various awards. You'll see at the end of each academic year that there's a graduate student recognition event, and awards are given. We get nominations from programs to recognize the best students in these programs, and you can see the list of awards to help support dissertation writing, to recognize excellence in teaching, service, and so on. Here's some more of those. One of the hallmarks and the key points of each academic year, and something which I'll end on, saving the best for last in some ways, is graduate exhibition. And the graduate exhibition is a spring semester showcase for the accomplishments and talent of all of our graduate students, whether that be poster presentations, performances, if you're an artist of some sort. And each spring we have this event. We have graduate alumni come back to the university to help serve as judges for the various awards that are given as a result of the graduate exhibition. And it's a way we try every year to recognize your great accomplishments and to allow you to interact with graduate alumni. So to emphasize some of the things that Nick Jones said as well, in as much as you're about to launch a new chapter in your life, which will change the trajectory of your entire life, we encourage you to explore different opportunities throughout campus, enjoy yourselves despite the hard work that's ahead, and experience all you can experience here so that you don't regret not doing something you should have done while you were here. So I thank you for your attention, and I wish you the best of luck, and hope to see you in current building in any capacity that you can. Thank you.
Okay. So up to now, you probably think your whole experience here is going to be research and hard work. That's a lot of it. However, I am overjoyed to introduce representatives of the Graduate and Professional Student Organization Association at Penn State, GPSA, as it's better known, Claire Kelling, who's the president, and Charles Tierney, who's the vice president, and they will share with you some tips on living in State College at Penn State and things that you can do beyond research.
All right, yeah, thank you for the introduction. So my name is Claire Kelling. I'm a fourth-year student in statistics. This is our vice president, Charles Tierney. He's a third-year student in aerospace engineering. We're really excited to be able to talk to you today about life in State College, but also the Graduate and Professional Student Association and that structure. So GPSA is the graduate student government, and we are dedicated to improving your Penn State experience. GPSA has two main components to our mission. The first is planning social, professional development, cultural, and many other types of events. The photo on the left is a sponsored cooking class where students learned how to cook simple and healthy meals. And other examples of events we had in the previous year include tailgates, a winter gala, which is basically a giant prom for graduate students. The Nittany Lion Inn held that event, and we also had financial literacy seminars and community service and volunteer events. We have upcoming events including theater days, and we'll have some other fall tailgates. If you are interested in staying up to date on our events, I'd encourage you to sign up for our newswire, which is just our email newsletter, and there will be sign-ups at the booth in the networking reception after. The photo on the bottom right is at a Board of Trustees meeting. Our second major component to our mission is serving as your voice to decision-making bodies across the university. We serve on many different commissions and committees that I'll talk about later, but our voice goes as high as the president, central administration, and even the Board of Trustees, which is the highest level of governance at the university. So to talk a little bit more about who's involved in GPSA, there are three main parts of GPSA: the assembly, which is made up of college delegates and at-large delegates; the executive board, which is made up of the president and the vice president, the secretary, treasurer, and a faculty senator; and then we have the judiciary, which are all appointed seats. The assembly is elected out of the graduate student body, and so is the executive board. There are still opportunities to get involved if you're interested, both in the assembly and outside of the assembly. Graduate Council is another major part of GPSA. I served on Graduate Council for 2 years, and Graduate Council is also elected. As a full body, Graduate Council is the body which establishes general policy regarding graduate programs and graduate education. It's composed mostly of faculty, but as graduate students and as GPSA, we have 5 seats for graduate students with full voting and speaking privileges. Every year in late March and early April, GPSA has its elections for the upcoming year. You're able to vote for the executive board and your academic college representatives, so please make sure to participate. If you would like to see who's representing you in your college, you can go to our website, which is gpsa.psu.edu, and you can click on membership and then the assembly to see who your representatives are. Some colleges, as I mentioned, have some open seats, so if you're interested in getting involved, please send GPSA or myself an email. GPSA also has liaison positions on task forces, committees, and many other groups within the university, so if there's a specific spot in the university where you're interested in making a difference, please contact me and I can try to help find that spot for you. So there are several different ways to navigate the State College community, both in buses and bike paths, as well as with parking. CATA serves all of State College with their bus system. All of the off-campus bus routes and times are located on their website, catabus.com. It's about $175 for an individual ride, but if you know you'll be taking the bus regularly to commute, you may want to consider getting a pass. Through the Ride Pass system, which is available to graduate students, it costs about $21 a month, where the normal cost for non-graduate students is about $70 a month. So there is a little bit of a discount there for graduate students. There is commuter parking available in the Bryce Jordan Center lot, and you can take the campus loops to get a little bit closer to where your academic building is. So biking is also a good commuting option when the weather cooperates. I personally bike to campus every day. There are a lot of trails or bike routes which are convenient for getting to campus from most parts of State College. If you choose to go this route, make sure you register your bike online. It's required by Penn State and Center County, but it's free and they'll mail you a sticker to put on your bike. So with that, we'll transition a little bit to resources at Penn State and some activities to do in the community. First, I just want to mention that life as a graduate student can be busy, so make sure you take care of yourself throughout your time at Penn State. In particular, I want to mention UHS, or University Health Services, and CAPS, or Counseling and Psychological Services. You'll hear more about them later, but they're both housed in the same building, and they're very important for making sure you stay physically and mentally healthy. There are also several fitness centers on campus with cardio, weights, and fitness classes. You can find the fitness class schedule online. There are many other student resources available at Penn State at both the college and university level, but if you're looking around the internet and you're having trouble finding something, please feel free to contact us, and we'd be more than happy to try to make that link for you. And if you're interested in getting involved in other clubs and student organizations, there will be the networking and information session after, but there will also be a graduate student organization fair on Wednesday, September 4th, just as a plug for that event.
Hello, everyone. Again, my name is Charles Tierney. I'm the Vice President of GPSA. And I'm going to talk a little bit about outside of school, off campus, what you can get into here in State College. Because hopefully, in our time here as graduate students, our lives won't completely revolve around research and study. So we'll start off with some food around town. Up in the, I guess that would be the top left of your screen, you see Webster's Bookstore and Cafe. So Webster's is one of a couple cafes here in State College. The other popular one is probably Saints. Webster's, I really like. That's kind of my hangout if I'm working on things that I don't have to be on campus for. It's a cool community space. They put on regular events. They have like open mic nights. They have like local musicians will play. So it's a really cool place to get to meet like local artists and stuff like that. And I just kind of like the atmosphere, I guess. Some of the other places on here that are popular eateries are, you have Irving's. They are popular for bagels and breakfast sandwiches. If you're looking for like a Saturday, like after a long night, you need to recoup with some greasy breakfast food. The Waffle Shop, there's a few locations on and around campus that I really like to eat there. And then India Pavilion is also on there. They have an amazing lunch buffet. So if you like Indian food, it's like $10, all you can eat. Really recommend it. Some of the other places, you'll have to go a little bit off campus, but Otto's Pub and Brewery, they're a little bit more upscale, and they have unique brews that are made here in State College. So if you're into beer and you'd like to try some local brews, Otto's is one place. And then additionally, there's Happy Valley Brewing, which is, I want to say it's west of campus a ways. You'll have to go out on College for a bit. I could be wrong on that, but it's around. And then lastly, Nosh. Nosh was formerly Cafe Verve, which was an all-vegan eatery. Nosh is no longer all vegan, but they do have vegan options there. So if you are looking for a place to eat out but need vegan-friendly options, that is one place to go. So now in the realm of arts and music, there's a bunch of options around town and just on campus. So one thing to keep an eye out for is in the weekly emails that you'll get with news from the university. They'll frequently advertise shows that are coming up. And then you'll also probably, if you order anything, if you've ordered tickets in the past, they'll send you updates on new shows that are coming to town. So you might have heard, or maybe you didn't, in the spring, the Jonas Brothers came impromptu and played at Champs, which is a bar on campus on Allen Street. They'll be coming again in the fall. So if you're a huge Jonas Brothers fan, I'd recommend getting in on those tickets. Some of the other things, Elton John performed here previously, so here in the Bryce Jordan Center, they'll typically get a lot of those big acts, big tours that are going around. Recommend doing that, but then also at the hub, there's several semi-large venues where they'll bring smaller size speakers, performers, musicians, and such. So just keep an eye out if you're ever around the hub or around the emails that you get. Some of the other things that are shown on the slide are the State Theater, which is just downtown. They'll also play a lot of local musicians. They have weekly film series where they'll show like artistic films or just films that have been out for a while and that are coming back around again. They'll have like improv shows. So it's a neat place to see some different types of performances. And then in the bottom left, that's the Central Pennsylvania Festival of the Arts, or Arts Fest. So every July, in the middle of July, for one weekend, there will be vendors and artists from all around the country will come and You can see the art that they've created. They'll have it for sale, or you can just admire it and walk around. The atmosphere is pretty cool to walk around campus. So that's a lot of really cool stuff. And then next slide is things to do outdoors. So being in dead center of Pennsylvania, we're not particularly close to any of the cities, so you might not get a lot to do in that area. Pittsburgh's like 3 hours-ish, Philly's 3 to 4 hours, New York about the same time. But one thing that Penn State really is good about, and that is really conveniently situated for, is outdoor stuff. So probably one hike that, if you're going to do one hike at all in your time here, I would recommend doing the Mount Nittany hike, just because it's the most iconic, and that is pictured in the top left there. It's a really easy hike. It's about like a mile up, and then there's like a mile loop at the top. It has really cool views of State College. You can kind of see around the whole area. So it's cool, even if it's just something to like cross off your list of things to do. I would recommend doing that. You have on the bottom left, that's Tussey Mountain. So if you're big into skiing and snowboarding, it's not a huge place, but in the winter, Tussey Mountain provides you the opportunity to go skiing. And then just other hikes that are around the area are probably, you have the Stone Valley Recreational Center, in the Stone Valley Conservatory. That's west of campus. You have to go over a mountain and it's down into the valley. You can do, I think, canoeing there. They just have hiking there. There's the Shavers Creek Conservancy. They have cool exhibits and stuff, a way for you to get involved with outdoor stuff. And then, so there's just a lot of opportunities, and I would recommend just taking advantage of all of the things that you can do outdoors. There's a lot for you to get involved in if you're into that kind of stuff.
Great. So I also will personally vouch for the outdoor activities. I have a kayak here in State College, and I love to do kayaking and hiking and biking all over the area. So if you'd like suggestions on any of those activities, please come talk to either of us at the booth after this session. Just in general, I want to make sure that you can feel free to contact us if there's ever anything we can do to improve your Penn State graduate student experience. That's what we're here for. This is our contact information. We are really on top of our email and take great pride in that. So if you email us, we'll get back to you probably within the day. So please just let us know if there's anything we can do for you. Again, you can make sure to sign up for our newswire to get emails about our events. And again, if you're interested in getting involved, there are still some open seats regardless of the college. So please let us know if you are interested in getting involved. Just one personal note. So I attended this orientation 3 years ago, and I actually met my best friend in graduate school next to me. We would not have met if it were not for this orientation. So I'd encourage you, even if you're sitting with your department, reach out and find the new person that you might not normally come across in this, either here or in the networking reception afterwards. This is a really great opportunity to meet new people and to get outside of your department. And I think even throughout your grad school experience, it's going to be important to surround yourself with people that are not only in your same cohort, but that can provide a more well-rounded experience and have different experiences in grad school. So we've tried to cover some things in a general sense, but again, if you have specific questions, please feel free to contact us. Our job as your student government is to represent you and to ensure that you have the resources you need to succeed. So I wish everyone the best of luck in their programs and a happy and rewarding time at Penn State. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Claire and Charles. It is now my pleasure to introduce Tiara Caldwell from the Office of Graduate Educational Equity Program. She's here to give you a brief overview of what they offer for graduate students.
Hello, everyone. Okay, we're going to try this one more time. Hello, everyone. By a show of hands, thumbs up, thumbs down. How's everyone feeling? Some in the middle? Thumbs up, okay. That's awesome. So as Dr. Ades just announced, my name is Dr. Caldwell, or as my students call me, Dr. C. And I'm here to talk a little bit about the Office of Graduate Educational Equity Programs, also known as OG. So I want to first talk a little bit about where our office is and where it is now. So we're normally housed in the Kern building, 111 Kern. Right now we are renovating, so we are in 119 Greenberg, which is right across from the chemical reactor on campus. If you didn't know, we do have a chemical reactor. So if you ever come and visit and we all have green hair, the chemical reactor must have gotten us or something. So our office is twofold, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that. There is an undergraduate component, and then there's a grad component to our office. So by a show of hands, how many people are familiar with the Mcnair Scholars Program? Awesome. Okay, so we have some Mcnair Scholars in here. So our office houses the Mcnair Scholars Program for Penn State, as well as the other house, which is the OGEEP side, which is the Office of Graduate Educational Equity Programs. So the Mcnair Program, let's talk a little bit about that for those who don't know. Mcnair Program kind of assists eligible Penn State undergraduate students for doctoral study in their chosen fields. So there are professional development activities. There is just all types of supports available for undergraduate students who are looking to pursue doctoral studies. In particular, this is a federally funded program, so the requirements are a bit strict. And I know you all are graduate students, so if you have any family, friends, or if you know anyone who is interested in becoming a Mcnair Scholar, feel free to point them in our direction and to find out a little bit more about Penn State and Penn State's Mcnair Program. Now, as for the OGEEP side of the house, you know, we kind of have a lot of programs. So, of course, the OGEEP acronym ends with programs. So some of our more notable programs are the STEM Open House, which some of you probably have attended, as well as SROP. Is there anyone who's attended either one of those here? SROP, awesome. So SROP is also known as SROP at certain institutions. So let me tell you a little bit about those two programs. So STEM Open House, we kind of refer to it jokingly as speed dating with faculty. Why? Because it's a weekend where we fly you out. Typically most students are undergraduates or they have graduated and they're looking to pursue graduate study here at Penn State. And what we do is we pair them with faculty, with graduate students, just people who are reflective of their backgrounds and disciplines. And what they do is they have a weekend and they kind of explore research interests through individual meetings with potential research advisors. They talk about their different types of academic programs. Some colleges have what we call interdisciplinary graduate degree programs. So, you know, there are different majors kind of merging together to make certain programs. So they meet with committee chairs, they get information on university resources, just kind of talk a little bit about the overall graduate experience and education, and then they get tours of Penn State. So this year, STEM Open House would be October 10th through the 13th. So if you know anyone who's interested, once more, you can point them in the direction of the OGEEP table that we'll have at the reception here. With SROP, so SROP, I actually oversee SROP. So SROP is an 8-week research intensive program where we kind of bring you here and you walk away with $3,000 over a course of 8 weeks. You get free GRE prep, host of professional development from learning how to brand your professional self, how to market yourself, how to find careers and kind of plan for those careers. We do all types of panels with graduate students and faculty, just having them kind of share their experiences with prospective students. But at the end of SROP, students are to present their research at what we call the final symposium, the research symposium. So So now I want to take this time to get into some things that probably are a little bit more applicable to you, because those other things I discussed are primarily for undergraduate students at Penn State. So our office also houses the Sloan Scholars program, and I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with that, but I'm going to talk a little bit about that for just a sec here. So the Alfred P. Sloan Foundation provides funding, and the funding is up to $40,000 in addition to your current graduate assistantships and stipends and all the things that you guys are, if you are receiving, it will top this off. So it's funding for underrepresented students who are pursuing graduate degrees in mathematics, science, engineering, so mainly STEM fields and technical parts of STEM fields. And the program specifically targets African Americans, Hispanic Americans, and Native Americans. In order to be eligible for this particular program, you had to have passed your candidacy or qualifying exam. So that's just something that you all should know, and if you are interested in finding out a little bit more about this funding opportunity, once more, I'll be available at the reception this evening, so please feel free to stop by my table and I can give you some more information. Most of the time when students are inquiring about the program, we send them to their multicultural leader. Your multicultural leader, and I'll talk a little bit about what that is and who those are in your individual colleges in a second, will help to kind of get you onboarded with STEM, with Sloan Scholars, and just the foundation in its entirety to figure out your eligibility requirements. So after speaking with me, if you are interested, I would urge you all to reach out to your multicultural leaders, as they're going to be the person that will help you kind of with that process of eligibility. So the CCML, and let's talk a little bit about multicultural leaders. So CCML stands for the College Council on Multicultural Leadership. Myself, along with the Associate Dean and Chief Diversity Officer for the Graduate School, Dr. Stephanie Danette Preston, are the multicultural leaders for the graduate school. Now, PSU has the CCML, which is what we call it, and it's really, really unique because each college has their own multicultural leader. So while we're the two leaders for the graduate school, there are some that have one or two, depending on the college, but there are leaders for each individual college. If you don't know your leader, I urge you to reach out. Just to give you a little bit and tell you a little bit about my personal story here. So I also received my PhD here at Penn State. My PhD is in counselor education, so I am a product of the College of Education. Is there anyone here that is going into that college? So, transitioning here, I came from a bigger city. I came from Atlanta by way of New Jersey, so I was used to a big city. And when I came here, it was a little bit of a culture shock for me in the sense that I just didn't know where I belonged. I didn't know where I kind of fit in this puzzle because it was a huge school. My undergraduate and master's degrees came from the Winston-Salem State University, which is known as a historically black college institution. So coming here, this was a bit of a culture shock, but I also knew that I wanted to fit in and I wanted to belong, but I didn't know where to start. So I started with my multicultural leader. My multicultural leader is Maria Schmidt. So those of you from the College of Education, it is Maria Schmidt, Dean Schmidt. She is amazing. So I would go to her, I would cry. I would tell her like all of my woes to try to figure out where to start. Things as simple as where do I find tires for my car, or where can I get my hair done, or where can I go shop? I don't know if you guys have seen the mall yet, but if you haven't, I'm just gonna leave it at that. But it was just a host of questions that I had, and I started with my multicultural leader. I went to her office. I made sure that she knew my face. I made sure that she had my phone number. I made sure that she chose me for activities or programs or anything that she had going on in her office, and that I was very familiar with her. So if you all haven't done that, reach out to your multicultural leader, and remembering too that the terms are interchangeably used. So the CCML, which is the Council on College Multicultural Leadership, is also kind of deemed the term of multicultural leader for your colleges. So just so you all know that. And then some of the things that just the CCML is responsible for, so you all will know. They're responsible for like college-wide leadership, coordination, development, and implementation of policies that enhance the recruitment and retention of students from underrepresented groups. So if you are a student that identifies as a student, or if you are a student that identifies as an underrepresented student or in that kind of group, please, please, please visit your multicultural leader. And last but certainly not least, and a lot of people know this about our office, our professional development lunches is probably one of the more popular things that OGEP does. So what we do is we kind of go to the Nittany Lion Inn, which is our hotel on campus. We choose one of the rooms. We have a speaker for you all. So there's always a guest speaker. The speaker always talks about, topics that are pertaining to graduate school, graduate education, just graduate life in its entirety. We just kind of gather together. You guys get a free meal. I know that you all are graduate students, so we will not turn down any free meals. So we have a good time, fellowship, community, connectedness, and this is open for everyone. So if you don't have to be a member or a group of you don't have to be an underrepresented student in order to participate in our lunches. So if you are interested in those and just kind of getting your bearings, getting your feet wet, and just kind of wanting to see the community and not knowing where to start, we will definitely be willing to take your contact information to tell you a little bit more about the lunches. So that pretty much sums up everything that I have. Once more, my name is Dr. Caldwell, and I am housed in the Greenberg complex for now, for about a year. But if there's anything that I can do to help with your transition, to answer any questions, or to point you in the direction or the right direction with anything, I'll be at the reception, and please feel free to walk up to me, introduce yourself, and get your question answered. So take care, and I wish you all the best.
Okay, it is now my absolute pleasure to introduce Elizabeth Beggar from the Career Services at Penn State. And I want to point out, you guys are incredibly lucky to have the career services operation that we have here at Penn State. At many universities, they're focused only on undergraduates, and basically you're out of luck if you're a graduate student. But here we have at the graduate school a fantastic partnership with career services, and we're building more and more programming for graduate students in collaboration with them. So keep them on your radar, and if someone tells you, oh, only undergrads can go to career services, they are wrong.
Good afternoon, everyone. Today's been quite the marathon, huh? How many of you need a stretch break? Okay, so go ahead, stand up, stretch your arms out, shake it out, twist, do what you need to do. Little better? Okay. The good news is, I think that I have something to share with you today that will be important to all of you, but maybe you can confirm that for me. By show of hands, how many of you in this room are vested in your ability to leverage your Penn State degree into professional employment someday? Okay, cool. Sounds like we're in the right space. So as Sarah mentioned, my name is Elizabeth, and I work in Central Career Services, and I want to share with you a little bit about how we can support your career journey over the next few years. So first, who are we as Career Services? I represent Central Career Services, which is located in the Bank of America building. It's centrally located on campus, very close to the creamery, so anytime you go get ice cream or coffee, stop by and see us. Within that building, we are a collection of professionals who represent career counselors, whose job it is to coach you through any big decision, be it, okay, I'm thinking about a different specialty, or what job I want to focus on, or how do I prepare. We're also coaches who will actually coach you through interactive workshops and hands-on experiences that will allow you to apply your skill and gain experience translating the skill you've gained here at the university into professional application materials. And finally, we're coordinators whose job is actually to connect you directly with the recruiters who are seeking candidates with your experience. So lots of great people in our office. We're also partners in collaborating with different units across the university. As Sarah mentioned, we're really excited to have such a strong partnership with the graduate school, and we can work with them really closely to provide tailored experiences that fit your unique needs. And finally, our mission is to prepare Penn State students for professional success. You are about to embark on a career journey. It might not be the first time you are embarking on a career journey. So we want to make sure that by the end of this next phase of your journey, you are prepared for professional success. So the career journey that I mentioned, we sort of visualize that as 4 different components. The first part of your career journey is something that many of you have already done, and that's determining self-awareness, thinking about your skills and your interests and what it is that you want to study or do someday. The next stage is exploring career options that align with your skills and experience. Finally, you're developing the skills, knowledge, and experience needed to be successful in the career that you've chosen, and ultimately marketing your abilities to employers who will hopefully hire you for the position you seek. I do want to mention as I go through what each of these phases means. This process, this pathway, is not a linear pathway. We do not see you as going through this 1, 2, 3, 4, done. Your career pathway, we hope, will be circular. You might repeat this process several times throughout your lifetime. In fact, some of you may be beginning this process again for the second or third time in your career. So be thinking about how you can revisit these stages as you go throughout your life and ultimately be prepared for wherever it is that your career takes you. So that first stage, self-awareness. Self-awareness is the ability to truly and accurately understand who you are as a person, what you're good at, what your aptitudes and interests are, and then think about how do those align with a potential career. This step requires a lot of introspection, and that can be really challenging for a lot of people. So we want to help you work through that process and thinking about what can you do, where are some areas for growth, and how do we get you connected to the right resources. So in particular, at the self-awareness stage of your career journey, some ways that we can support you, mostly through career counseling. In our office, we have really fantastic career counselors who will meet with you in either a full 50-minute counseling appointment or through our drop-in career counseling services. Those are 15-minute appointments where you can come in, connect, ask a quick question, or be redirected to the appropriate service. Those occur every day from 7:30 to 4:30, as well as at the Hub on Tuesday nights from 5 to 7. So we hope that some of those hours will work within your busy schedules. So step 1 is self-awareness. Step 2, after you've identified who you are, what your goals are, you want to start to think about what careers align with those goals. So how do you find out about different career options that are available to you? There's the obvious one, research. Many of you in this room are very familiar with research and probably pretty good at it. So that's one route you can go. You can also connect with employers who actually work within the industry to talk to them and figure out what does your life look like on a day-to-day basis to determine if that would be a good fit for you. So before you jump into a pathway, really gaining a better understanding of what that person or that industry actually does. You could also observe professionals in industry, actually going to see them, spending a day on site to determine if that daily experience is something that you would be a good fit at. And finally, gaining your own experience within the industry to sort of test it out. We always say within career services, it's just as important to find out what you don't like as what you do like. So you can only figure that out by talking to people and gaining experience. Some ways that we can support you in this step of the process. We have a website that is full of resources that will help you determine, okay, here's what my major is. Here's what I hope to graduate with. What does that qualify me for? There's lots of jobs out there that you probably don't even know exist, so we want to make you aware of those so that you can make the best choice. We also have a service called LionLink. LionLink is a platform that is dedicated solely for Penn State students, and it is represented of a bunch of Penn State alumni who have signed up for that platform to directly connect with students like you. They want to connect with you. They want to be willing to give you advice and insight. So it's a great way to not only talk to employers and potentially connect with people who would allow you to observe them, but also to develop your personal network as well. And finally, to gain experience, we have a lot of opportunities for you to connect with recruiters right here on campus. Our main source of getting you that information is Nittany Lion Careers. All of you will have access to Nittany Lion Careers, and it's where you can go to find jobs, internship experiences, or opportunities to connect with employers who are here on campus, visiting and seeking qualified candidates like you. And finally, career fairs. We have many, many career fairs here at the university. This fall, September 17th, 18th, and 19th, we host a career fair of close to 600 employers who are seeking candidates for interns and full-time positions. So truly, while you are here, maximizing those opportunities to connect can allow you to leave the university ready for the next stage. All right, so you have the knowledge, you know what you're working toward, you've figured out where your path is going. Now you need to develop the knowledge, skills, and abilities to prepare you for professional success. You're all here to learn, obviously, but you're not just empty vessels who are here to sort of soak up information, right? It is up to you to take advantage of the next few years and maximize your opportunities. To do that, you need to take the initiative to get involved, right, in any way that you can. This can be really challenging because all of you are balancing challenging course loads. Many of you are balancing jobs and families and additional responsibilities, so we acknowledge that. But it's truly worth the effort if you can build a network of people who will support you and help you get to the next stage in your career. How we can be that supportive network. We have a lot of resources, as I mentioned, available to you, including our career guide. We hand out about 10,000 of these every year. This evening at the reception, we will have some with us. We'd love for you to stop by and grab one. It's a truly comprehensive guide of all of the ways that you can prepare through every single step of your career journey. That career guide's based on industry research and understanding what do employers actually want and how can you develop those skills and knowledge as you go through the next few years here at the university. And finally, we offer prep workshops. These are hands-on guided experiences that actually allow you to articulate your unique set of skills and experience and translate them to the skills that employers are seeking for a particular position. So we definitely can help you with that stage. And finally, the good news, by the end of this cycle, at least, of your career journey, you have the knowledge. It's now time to market those skills and experience to the employers. The primary ways that you do that are through your application materials, as well as networking sites like LinkedIn. And we can definitely help you create those materials through a number of services. Drop-in counseling will allow us to do resumes or cover letter reviews. We also do mock interviews, which is a great opportunity for you to give us a position you're applying for. We come up with the questions that you might be asked within that interview and actually put you through a mock experience. We videotape you, always fun to watch yourself back. We play the video back and we give you some advice and some tips. And I know that that process is probably a little overwhelming. However, wouldn't it be great to practice those skills and experience in a very safe setting that even if you do poorly, doesn't result in you losing a job? So we hope that you'll take advantage of those services. All right, so by the time you get through this next cycle of your career journey, we want you to be career ready. What is career readiness? Career readiness is this concept that is really sort of formulated by the National Association of Colleges and Employers, or NACE. And NACE is the professional association that guides most of the work that we do here in career services. And NACE defines career readiness as this notion that you have gained all of the competencies that you need to be successful in a professional setting. So what are those competencies? NACE has done years and years of research across most industries, thousands of employers, to determine what are these employers seeking in a candidate. Overwhelmingly, regardless of industry, these employers are seeking the same set of skills and aptitudes, and they're represented here on the screen. Many of these aptitudes are things you're very familiar with. Many of you have already gone through professional evaluations in which you are assessed on these same competencies. So we want to make sure that you have the opportunity here at the university to develop experience in all of those competencies, not only through your classes, which is a great place to be learning these things, but also through additional involvement here at the university. Ooh. All right, so in developing those competencies, how can we as career services help you? We really see ourselves as tour guides to helping you access all of the services and opportunities here across the university. So first, we need to help you understand what are those competencies. Good news, I've just introduced them to you. right? You now know what employers are seeking. Next, we want to work with you to help you identify which are the skills that you have, and where are some maybe areas for growth that you can take advantage of opportunities here at the university to strengthen those skills. Next, we'll help you develop a game plan for how do you go about doing that. Is it getting involved in professional associations? Is it getting involved with organizations here on campus or employment opportunities? And you can actually strategize what's the best way for you to do this while juggling all of your multiple responsibilities. And finally, we want to help you articulate how all of the aptitudes, skills, and knowledge that you have gained make you truly the most qualified candidate for the job of your dreams. So, that's the notion of creating a career pathway and a career journey, and I hope that I've shared with you a little bit about how we can support you through every single step of that process, be it you go through that cycle once over the next few years, or as you're going through that cycle multiple times. Before I leave today, I want to take the opportunity to address a set of common misconceptions that many people who are in your stage are currently facing and feeling. And I hope that by combating these misconceptions now, they allow you to sort of set them aside and really sort of focus on the next few years stress-free and in the best headspace. The first misconception is that there's only one perfect job or career for you. It's frankly not the case. There are many, many jobs that you are qualified for or will be qualified for by the time you leave the university. I'm a perfect example of that. I graduated from Penn State. I have my graduate degree in education. I worked in secondary education for a number of years, and then I found myself ready to switch careers. And I wasn't sure what I was qualified for. I always wanted to be a teacher. I always thought I'd be a teacher. And here I was, ready for a change. The good news is you will all be ready to make a change as well, so long as you're doing all of the steps that we talked about over the next couple of years. The next misconception is that your major will guide you to a career. Good news, when you walk across this stage, it'll be very similar. In a couple of years, you will be handed a diploma. Bad news, you will not be handed a job. So it's really up to you to take advantage of all the resources here at the university to create that career pathway and be prepared for wherever you end. Next, liberal arts, humanities, and sciences are not marketable majors. It's simply not true. We overwhelmingly hear from the employers who are recruiting here on campus that those students in those fields often are their strongest candidates because they've really successfully developed those competencies that they're looking for. So please put that notion aside. I hope that allows you to focus on something you're truly passionate about. Next, your career decision should be based on the current job market. Guess what? The world's a crazy place right now. Things are changing and will continue to change. So you don't want to make these sort of finite decisions based on the information that you have right now. You want to be able to shift and pivot as the world changes, careers change, the market changes, the economy changes, so that you're ready whenever that happens. That leads right into my next one, that career decisions are lifelong choices. We know that to be true. Some of you in this room have already switched careers or in the process of doing that right now. Good news, there will always be changing opportunities. We want to help you find them and be prepared for them. And finally, and I thought this one was interesting to mention, a lot of you who are pursuing advanced professional degrees consider the only possible route to be academia. And that's a great route, right? But I do want you to know that you're qualified for much more than that. Many industries and employers are seeking your unique skill sets, so we hope that you will consider those opportunities and at least explore them rather than only thinking about one route. As I mentioned, these misconceptions are really, really common. A lot of people hold them. So it's time that we combat those misconceptions. How do we do that? We need a paradigm shift. We need to start thinking about our career not as something that's finite. I told you that career pathway, there's 4 steps. It's not linear. It's cyclical. You're going to go through it many times in your life. So to help illustrate this concept of an infinite career, I want to share a brief video with you from Simon Sinek. Some of you are familiar with him from his work called Start With Why. That's what he's most famous for. In 2018, he's an author and a public speaker. Motivational speaker, rather. In 2018, he released a book called The Infinite Game. In this video, Simon talks about this notion that a lot of people have, that their career is finite, and they work really, really hard to achieve that goal, especially people like professional athletes, right, who have been working their whole lives to get to the Olympics, to compete. They get that gold medal, they've achieved their goal, and then they're left feeling really stranded and really depressed because they don't know where to go next. They've achieved the utmost goal. That's not a healthy place for any of us to be. We, of course, want you to work towards your goals, but we also want those goals to progress and change throughout your career, so that we hope that you'll consider this paradigm shift and start to think about your career as infinite rather than finite. So again, check it out. It's like a 3-minute video. I'm very sorry that it didn't work. All right. Before I leave today, I just want to share with you a couple of upcoming events where we hope that you will connect with us. We really hope that this is the start of our relationship with all of you and that you will come back and see us soon. I'd encourage you to take a photo of this slide. I'll also share our social media accounts with you in just a minute here, but these are some great ways to come and see us and connect with recruiters. I will also be at the reception this evening, so I hope you'll stop by and see me and continue this conversation. I'll leave you with our social media accounts. Feel free to take a picture of this screen. I hope you'll follow us, and I hope to see you again soon. Thanks for your time.
Okay, so I'm actually up next in the agenda. As Dr. Clark pointed out at the beginning, I am the University Ombudsperson for all graduate students at Penn State. I hope that I don't see any of you in a capacity where you have a problem, but if I do, I will do my best to help you through that problem. I also am in charge of career and professional development activities for the graduate school, which includes our Graduate Writing Center, the graduate exhibition. So I'd much prefer to see everyone in that aspect of my job. Anyway, I'm going to start off by saying, yet again, congratulations on being here. It is a great privilege to welcome you, to have you in graduate school. I am a microbiologist. I have a PhD in biology, and I'm actually a professor in the biochemistry and molecular biology department. So you guys have achieved a huge amount to get here. What that meant is when you sent off your application last fall, a group of faculty members looked at it amongst stacks of many other applications and actually chose you to come and be a part of their graduate community. So along the way, inevitably, people start to think, maybe I don't belong here, I'm not as smart as these other people who are here, I don't have what it takes. Turn that voice off. You were chosen to be here, to be in graduate school, and to succeed. And probably, as you look around the room, other people are having those same thoughts. We are looking forward to seeing your success here and to help you celebrate that as you move forward. You're going to be taking a deep dive into a very specific subject. Graduate school is totally unlike undergraduate. As an undergraduate, I took all kinds of courses in English, religious studies, as well as biochemistry, molecular biology, developmental biology, but I had a great breadth. Here, you are to study in exquisite detail something very specific and enjoy that. It's actually intellectually freeing to focus on something and to end up being the world's expert on that something. At the same time, occasionally come up from that deep dive, take a breath, and embrace diversity around you. You can do that in lots of ways that you've heard about today. One of the best ways is meeting people. As Claire said in her presentation from GPSA, I challenge you, after this is over at the reception at 5, go up to people who you don't know, introduce yourself, make friends, and ask someone, what do you study? What interests you? Why are you here? And share that with them and have them share it with you. That's one of the great things about being in graduate school, is meeting some really interesting people. And you never know what's going to happen out of it. I actually ended up meeting my husband in graduate school. Didn't expect that would happen, but it did. Okay. So I'm going to start off, rather than with your deep dive, in getting involved, because this is important to support you as a whole person as you go through graduate school. And by being involved in doing these things, it's not necessarily something that is totally separate from your graduate studies. They can support your studies and help you develop skills that you will need as you move through your graduate career and when you go on into trying to find jobs, as you just heard before the break. There are all kinds of workshops that are sponsored by the graduate school. Hopefully in a couple months, maybe mid-fall, we're going to roll out a new website for the graduate school that will have a calendar of events that you can keep track of, that will help you organize what opportunities are out there. Look for things in your discipline. Take advantage of opportunities to join professional organizations, to go to conferences, the opportunities to apply for funding to go to conferences. If you have any questions about how to do any of this, ask people in your graduate program, ask senior students. Write an email to the grad school. We have a opportunity, a place where you can, just a general email where you can submit questions. We'll get back to you and try to help you. Build your networks within your program. You're not in this alone. There are people around you who are here, who are going through similar things. They're very important for you. Some of my best friends I still keep in touch with are from graduate school. So, how to succeed? You've heard this also before today. Work really hard, and yes, work really hard. Graduate school is not easy. You're not going to breeze through tests like you might have done as an undergrad. There are probably a few geniuses out there who might, but it is hard work, even for the geniuses, because you're up against yourself. You're pushing the boundaries of knowledge. The other thing that's very different from undergraduate is you are in charge of your own education. No one is going to be there to remind you of all the little things that you need to do. They might give you some reminders occasionally, but it is on you to make sure that you meet the deadlines, that you follow your graduate school policies, and that things happen. So as part of doing that, listen to people around you. They're usually saying things for a reason. So work hard on that. The other thing is get help if you need it. You're going to hear today about lots of resources on campus. This is really important. There are support systems here. You're going to need them at various times during your career here, whether it's simply a better set of friends, or you might actually, if you need to something more, you can find those resources. But no one is going to know that you need help unless you ask for it. And no one will think the worse of you for asking for help. And as part of that help, find good mentors for yourself who can help guide you through your graduate school. Many of you, especially those who are doctoral students, will have a graduate advisor. Hopefully that advisor will be a mentor. An advisor is someone who simply helps you know what the requirements are to get through your degree, to learn the knowledge. A mentor is someone who really can take what your interests are and where you want to go and help you achieve that. So look for those people. And it might be people outside of your immediate area. It might be other faculty members in your program. It might even be someone in a different program. But think about what it is that you want to become and find people who can help you get there. So one definition of mentor is a wise and trusted counselor to ask for, and they can help you with a myriad of things. So how do you identify someone like this? Here are some obvious things, but yeah, think about it. So someone who has shared intellectual interest with you. Someone who's committed to your growth as a student, to help guiding you and supporting you. Also think about someone who has a compatible communication style. You can have advisors who are very hands-off, who will let you go do your own thing, expect you to come to them when you have a problem, you'll talk it through, and then you'll go off on your own again. Other advisors can be very hands-on and can want to know what you're doing every single day. They want to see every result. They want to help you think through it. Different people flourish with different types of advisors. So for those of you who don't have an advisor or a PhD mentor or a master's mentor already, keep an eye out for these things. Also, it is important to have shared values, to have complementary experiences. So read the bios of people who might be your potential mentors. See what their experiences are. See if that's something that you think can add to your development as a student and as a person as well. One of the pitfalls that people fall into is that they may go meet someone and think, this area of research, this person is so smart, I can ignore that there's this aspect of this person that can be really hard, might be really hard to deal with. If you're going to spend a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, even 6 years working with someone very closely as a mentor, you need something more than just the research to keep you going. So also think about how to be a good mentee. It's not just that your mentor is there and is going to do everything for you. Your mentor is there to help you work better. But as I've said before, you have to take responsibility. Your mentor, I have a very clear memory of sitting down with my advisor and immediately launching into some detail of an experiment that I did 2 days ago. And he said, whoa, wait, you're going to have to remind me what you've been working on. The faculty members that you work with are often mentoring multiple students. They're writing research grants, they're teaching, they have a lot going on, they may have kids. So be mindful of that. Don't be insulted if your advisor asks you that simple question and doesn't seem to remember exactly what you're doing in that first instant. And as I said, have multiple mentors for different things that you might want to do. If, say, you are not necessarily interested in going into academics, but your advisor has spent their whole life in academics, they may know people who have jobs outside of academics, but it's useful to go talk to people in career services, to find other people who can help mentor you in that aspect where your advisor, your research supervisor might not be an expert. Another thing is to make sure that you work with your mentor to develop clear expectations. That way, everybody knows what's going on. You're on the same page. One thing that I've noticed, sometimes I'll sit with a student and I'll just spew, here's all the experiments we're going to do. You're going to do this, this, and this, and here's the background. And this student is looking at me like, yeah, and they don't say anything. And then at some point I'll catch myself and I'll go, okay, why don't we step back a little bit, tell me what you understand, tell me what you didn't understand. So if you find yourself sitting there and you're not catching what's going on, don't be afraid to say, wait, can we go back a little bit? You mentioned this thing, I don't really understand what that is. It's all about communication. Unless you say something, if you nod and smile and say, yes, got it, your mentor is going to assume that you actually did get it. And I know there's that feeling of, okay, I'm going to remember all these words and I'm going to go back to my desk and I'm going to look it all up so then I'll have it. But often, if your brain works somewhat like mine does, by the time I get back to my desk, I'm like, what were all those things I was going to remember and look up? Oh no, I'm screwed. So slow down, ask questions. You can even follow up with your mentor and send him a quick email saying, so these are the key things that you wanted me to focus on, right? Did I miss anything? Those kind of interactions can really help improve relationships. So this leads into the next one about being clear about your needs, but don't be rigid. Everybody needs to be flexible in successful mentoring relationships. Ask questions, be open to feedback. You're going to screw up at some point. experiments fail, lines of research don't necessarily go where they need to go. That's natural. Accept that, take the feedback, and move on, because we learn from our mistakes. There were some key mistakes I remember making as a graduate student. I made them, man, did it screw things up, but I never did that again because I learned, yeah, we're not going there another time. Maintain boundaries with your mentor as well. Sometimes students can become very close to their mentors as friends, but respect a boundary that your mentor might have or might want, which means things like don't necessarily show up at their house in the middle of the night saying, I really need help. Send them an email, but make sure you're clear about that. And treat your mentor with respect, and hopefully your mentor will treat you with respect as well. There are resources around to help you learn how to be a mentee. This can also be called managing up. If you Google that, you can find some tips about working as a mentee. We have on the graduate school website recommended practices in graduate education, and this has tips not just for students, their responsibilities as mentees. It also has practices recommended for faculty members, for graduate program officers, and even for the graduate school administrators. And that's in recognition that it takes this whole group of people to support student success. Various other schools have some great mentoring guides that I wanted to point out. University of Washington, University of Michigan have some that are wonderful to follow through as well. So that said, be good mentees, learn from the fabulous faculty members around you. They have an enormous amount to offer. Learn from your fellow students and get involved during your graduate career. Okay, so moving on, we're now going to start moving into some more resources for you as you continue in graduate school. The first is a very important one to know about, called Title IX. How many people know what Title IX is? Awesome. So I am now welcoming Amy Kottner and Chad Wright from the Office of Student Affairs, who deal with all things Title IX at the university.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone's doing well, and welcome to Penn State. My name is Amy Kottner. I am from the Office of Sexual Misconduct Prevention and Response. I'm here representing Chris Harris, who is our Title IX coordinator. Also with us is Chad Wright, who's over here in the corner. He is what we talk about as a case manager, and his focus is to work and be supportive of students up here at University Park. So more than likely, as I talk about what we do and the support we can provide, more than likely Chad will be the person that you would meet with. If for some reason you feel uncomfortable speaking with a male, you can let us know, and myself or another staff member is also available. So when we think about Title IX, some people might not know what this is. It is a federal law that says no persons in the United States shall, on the basis of sex, I always include gender, be excluded from participation in or be denied the benefits of or subject to discrimination under any program receiving federal financial assistance. And what this really means is that we want to make sure you have a positive environment to learn while you're here. And when we think about different behaviors that might fall into that, if you find yourself subject to sexual, gender-based harassment or discrimination, that is covered. If anyone unfortunately finds themselves as well in a sexual assault, that's an inappropriate touch all the way up to an actual rape. Sexual exploitation, that's someone taking inappropriate videos or pictures and then dispersing those as well. That's also if someone knows if they have an STD or STI and they do not share that with an individual, that also could be considered sexual exploitation. Stalking, if you find someone stalking you either in person, digitally, through technology, texting, and other social media ways, that is something. If you're involved in a dating or domestic violence situation, that is also something that a behavior that we provide support for. And then retaliation. And when I say about providing support, if you find you've been a victim, or you'll hear us use the term complainant in any of these, it doesn't matter if you just left a situation or something happened to you previously before you came to Penn State, or why you're here. And it doesn't matter if the other person is a Penn State individual or not. If you find yourself are being impacted in your studies because of this experience, we are here to help you. And we'll talk a little bit later about how we do that. Many people might think of Title IX as being athletics. And at one point, that's really where it was. Do we have equal gender participation? And it's not about numbers, it's about percentage. So if you have 60% of your population are female, then 60% of the sports and the money to that would have to go to that, would have to be for females. When we look at about statistics, when we talk about sexual misconduct, it's a nationwide epidemic. 1 in 5 women nationwide, typically colleges and universities, it's 1 in 4. Males are impacted just as much as females. We did a survey in 2015, and when we looked at men, they were impacted. We looked at the LGBTQ community, about mirror image of the heterosexual community. So everyone's impacted, and everyone's impacted in a different way and might respond to that in a different manner. The university, we do keep information. We try to keep as much information confidential, but sometimes we need to talk to people about a need to know. When we look at information, we are looking at, are we seeing environments? If you're in a certain college or a certain club or organization, and there is, for say, gender harassment of some type or some type of gender discrimination, if you are experiencing that, you're not going to want to be part of it. It's going to be hard to go there every day, participate in the organization, do your academics, whatever it might be. So what is it that our office needs to do to stop that harassment, prevent it from reoccurring, and address the effects? In addition, if you are a person who has been sexually assaulted, part of a dating violence situation, or any of those other behaviors, stalking, etc., how is that impacting you? What are resources that we can do to support you? How can we stop that behavior from happening and prevent it from reoccurring as well? I'm sure today you've heard the university has a policy for everything. And for Title IX, we do have that as well. It's called AD 85. So if you ever are wondering about this, want to know what these definitions are, what are the resources that's available, if you go to that part on the website, you will find information on that. It talks about the reporting process and information available. Also, part of this talks about consensual relationships. And in the environment which you do, we like to kind of emphasize about consensual relationships for graduate students. And so that is with someone that's of power, whether it's an instructor, someone that might be researching, supervising of you. One, the university highly discourages it. But as I joke with groups that I go to, Cupid's arrow you can't control. So if there would be a situation like that, the person who is of power, the supervisor, the faculty member, or also too, if you are a TA, someone that you might supervise, etc., the person of power needs to get and talk to their supervisor so that then steps to eliminate that power over the other individual, and grade, supervision, evaluation is altered accordingly. And if you ever have questions, you can speak with our office about that as well. So let's say you've had something impact you, and like I said, it doesn't matter when or where, it's that it's impacted you, and you want to talk to someone. You can go to CAPS, our counseling services on campus, Gender Equity, or the University Health Services. And you can share with them, and they do not need to share with anyone else, okay? But if you share with any other employee, also too, if you are receiving any kind of pay for any of your positions, research, graduate, TA, any of that, you are a responsible employee. So if someone shares with you about an experience, you are the responsible employee and you must share with our office, okay? So it's important for you to recognize not only are we talking to you about services that are here to help you, but a responsibility you might also have. We have the Title IX website, title9.psu.edu. This is a website to become familiar with. You will see on this website there's various resources for you that you can go to and find information. But if you find yourself a person who's a responsible employee and you need to report, or you find yourself in a situation you want to report, first of all, you can always walk into our office. Second off, as a reporter, you can go to here, you can go to the red button and click on that, and a slide later I'll kind of show you what pops up. But that's where you put your information. On our website too, we have resources. We're required to provide medical information both on and off campus, emotional support that's confidential both on and off campus. As I shared, we have CAPS, Gender Equity, and University Health Services for that, but also Center Safe is another resource. And then reporting options. You can choose to report to our office as your first outreach, but there's also other outreaches. All the Penn State on-campus outreaches that are listed there automatically do a report with our office as well. Or law enforcement, if the behavior that happened to you is something, we can connect you with the appropriate law enforcement location. This resource sheet, if you go to the tab of About Campus, it's actually located on the About tab. Our report looks a little bit different than what this report does, but very similar. We want information. So if the person is a Penn State person, everyone from the directory should be able to find their Penn State email account. When you put the information that you have, please try to include at least that. If you have access to an individual's ID number, that would be wonderful. There's a lot of Joe Smiths out there. We want to make sure we're reaching out to the right person and we're not just guessing who the individual is that might be affected that we're reaching out to, okay? So how are reports made? So when someone makes a report, what happens is Chad, typically for University Park, will be sending an email and potentially a text. If you receive a text, it just says, someone from Penn, or you have a very important email from Penn State, please check your email. Doesn't say why or any of that. And we're not there yet, but I just want to warn you that that might be happening hopefully within the next month or so. But Chad would be the reach out. And we will do 2 reach outs. You can choose to ignore it or respond to him. And like I said too, if for whatever reason you get an email from Chad, or maybe it'll be for me, I'm stepping in to help Chad, or someone else, if you feel you want a different gender, we have another individual in the office that can do that. And we've had people ask that, and that's okay. In that you can ignore our email or you can come in to see us, and we will talk to you about what are the resources. Oftentimes I will be helping a person set up a counseling appointment, maybe connecting with gender equity. Also too, we might help them connect with the local police if they want to do a criminal report. A lot of our time is spent with people with what we call academic accommodations. When you've gone through a traumatic event, sometimes you need a pause. You might not be able to go to class all the time. You might need just a little break and a little delay on some assignments. Well, let's talk about it, and we can work with your faculty on that, okay? So there's, like I said, there's various options. If something has happened in your past and it impacted grades or things, let's talk. It's never too late. We can try to figure out what some sources are. If an individual who has done this to you is in your program and you're in class with them and it's difficult, once again, maybe there's some accommodations we can do there. So a lot of our time is there. We talked about law enforcement, but also too, if the individual is a Penn State person who has done this to you, there's different aspects of the code of conduct, from maybe you just want us to know and we do nothing, to potentially all the way up to a formal investigation. And that is where our investigators do an investigation, and people review the packet that have been involved in the situation, and then it goes to our conduct to determine if responsibility is and whatever kind of sanction might happen there. But there are steps. But if people don't want to do anything, we really try to listen to the voice of the complainant, the victim, to try to do what's best for them. And like I said, the person doesn't have to be a Penn State person. The person could have been someone from back home, someone a year ago, someone from 2 years ago, someone that you didn't know that you just met on spring break or however it might be. We will still support you, okay? And the resources and the accommodations, law enforcement is still there for you. Please note, if you ever have any questions, you can always come to our office, you can call our office, you can email our office. Affirmative action is also there to support. They actually work with employee cases that are Title IX related, and that, so that is why they are connected with our office. Please ask us anything, and that Chad will actually be here tonight too at the reception, so look for Chad in his table of information. So welcome to Penn State, and thank you for choosing Penn State, and best of luck in all your education endeavors.
Okay, now it is my pleasure to introduce Katie Bodie-Lang from the Office of Research Protection. She's the Director of Education and Quality Management. She is here to talk about scholarship and research integrity, which is absolutely critical as you go on to become researchers in your fields.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Katie Bodie-Lang. I'm from the Office for Research Protections, an office you've never heard of. I have one goal for the next 15 minutes. I want you to know that my office exists. That's it, all right? So, because show of hands, how many of you came here to do research? Good call. How many of you are here to do research with people? How many of you have research that involves people? Okay, great. How many of you have research that involves animals? A few of you. If you raised your hand, you need to know about my office, because there's federal regulations and policies that exist in order for you to be able to do that research before you can move forward with it. And you can't move forward without talking to us. So these regulations exist, not just because we want to be red tape, though we understand it sometimes feels that way, but we want to make sure that the research is being conducted responsibly, and we need to make sure that we're reducing our risks to our participants, whoever or whatever they may be. I don't need you to know what all those regulations are today, but I do need you to know that they exist. So Penn State has a lot of policies, as you may have already been hearing and figuring out today. And again, for many things, it's because there's some federal regulations existing behind them. And my office provides the oversight for a lot of those regulations when it comes to the research policies. We cover a lot of ground, literally from the sea to the sky, and I want to give you a broad overview of that scope right now, which involves a lot of acronyms. All right, so first up, we've got the IRB, and this is the Institutional Review Board, or Human Subjects Research. It's the board that reviews the research proposals for any of you doing work with human subjects. And oftentimes we might think of this as just being, say, a clinical drug trial. But it's also if you're giving a survey, or if you're interviewing people, testing them, even if it's data you didn't collect, but it's about people, even if it takes place in another country, that's still human subjects research, and you need to talk to our office first. Our office has analysts who also serve on the IRB board, and they review every application, and we have an online system for you to submit. I've got lots of trainings you can take about it if you need to do this. We also cover the animal research for those of you doing that. The IACUC is there. It's the same concept as the IRB, but obviously with animals. We cover everything from biohazardous materials, so bodily fluids, viruses, dual-use research of concern. That's going to be select agents and toxins. I really hope you know who you are if you're working on those. We've got radioisotopes, embryonic stem cells, scientific diving, even in a landlocked state. We've got like $6 million worth of research funding just for diving. So that's the sea. There's also drone compliance. That's the sky. Conflicts of interests. Your graduate students, you don't have any money yet, but when you think of an amazing startup, we handle those financial conflicts of interest as well. Controlled substances, research misconduct, and quality management education. So if you tuned me out when I got to isotopes, I need you to start paying attention again. Because even if you aren't doing research with people or animals, you still need to know about the Office for Research Protections. And why is that? Because many of you will be doing research in some regard, whether that's studying contemporary poetry, shout out for all my English majors out there, fabricating some new nanotech material, or observing tree funguses, okay? We've got lots of research. But all of you are scholars, and we want you to be conducting the highest quality scholarship and research. So what does that mean? It's not just following policy, though that's important too, but it means being careful in your writing and citations, being thoughtful in your collaborations, mindful of how you're managing your data. We also want to encourage, as Sarah was talking about earlier, engaged mentorship and responsible publication, because the best research is the research that's conducted responsibly and with integrity. So to that end, all of you are required to take Scholarship and Research Integrity, or SARI, training. Now, each department and program has its own specific SARI requirements. For many of you, though, it's going to involve taking an online course through something called CITI, as well as in-person training. For some departments, that's going to be part of your research methods class or an ethics course. For others, it's going to be some standalone workshops or orientations. And if you're really lucky, it's going to involve a new class called RISE. Our education program, we also offer a number of workshops throughout the school year that might be of interest to you. We cover a lot of different things on authorship, publication, data management, etc. And we'll have a listing of those at this evening's event. You can also find those on our website. Your own graduate program is going to give you details about your SARI requirements, but I wanted to give you the heads up about it now. So depending on the research that you're doing, also, you may need to take additional training. So for example, if you're doing that research with humans or animals, there's going to be additional CITI training that you need to take before you can start that research. But it's the SARI training that's required of all graduate students. And if you have questions on it, we've got frequently asked questions up on our website, or you can contact our education coordinator directly. She'll also be at a table this evening, so you can ask her any questions you have, pick up one of our fancy bookmarks, all sorts of good stuff. So I know that you've got so much information you're taking in right now. It's been a long time since I started my graduate work at Penn State, but every time this year I feel nostalgic for that excitement and overwhelm that comes with this first week of becoming a graduate student at Penn State. And I know that hearing from me that taking a training in ethics education is just probably like one more thing on a to-do list that's never ending. But in case you missed it on an earlier slide, research misconduct is also something that my office handles, and that's a lot of why I'm here. Because what is research misconduct? It's the reason you want to pay attention at the training. It's plagiarism, and it's fabrication and falsification of data. And I'm going to assume that you didn't come here, and nobody comes here thinking, oh yeah, I'm definitely going to plagiarize on my thesis or dissertation. But here's the thing. Research misconduct happens. 3 years ago, the university had to revoke 3 graduate degrees because of research misconduct. And that's something the university hates to do. And I don't want that to happen again, and I don't want to be here in a few years saying, oh yeah, 2 years ago, we had more of that, okay? So pay attention to the training. It is important. But if you don't know, because if you don't know what constitutes plagiarism or fabrication or falsification of data, you're not going to be able to avoid that mistake. And that's why the training is important. Plagiarism can be as obvious as copying someone else's work, but it can also be the result of sloppy research or careless note-taking. Fabrication and falsification aren't always malicious in intent. You need to make sure that your results are reproducible. And there's the problem of doing your research without the proper policies or having the proper approval, which is why you need to talk to my office for those things. So here's what I want you to do. Pay attention to the training. Our office doesn't simply exist as a disciplinary office. We really are here to help things run smoothly, and while also making sure that we're following all of those relevant regulations and policies so we keep our federal funding and all that good stuff. And if you're worried that something doesn't look right in the lab that you're working in, or if something doesn't line up with the SARI training that you took, come to us. If you're getting pressure to get certain results, it's rare, but it happens. Come talk to us. We handle all the research misconduct concerns for the entire university, and we're here to help you with your concerns and be an advocate for you. We offer confidential consultations. You can just email us here. This is about the integrity of your work. We want your work to be able to stand the test of time, and you want to leave here well on your way to becoming an independent and well-respected researcher and scholar. That's what we want for you too. And the most important work you'll do while you're here is that training on how to be a thoughtful, responsible, ethical researcher and scholar. Think about it. Why are you here? Why'd you come to Penn State? Whether it's science or it's art, it's all about seeking truth. And in all that you're doing, we don't want you to lose sight of that. And if you're not sure if something is okay or if something feels a little wrong, trust your gut and come to us about that. On the screens are questions if you've got further questions, contacts if you have further questions or if you want to talk with someone else. And again, representatives will be here this evening. So, what do you need to do? First of all, I need you to know that the Office for Research Protections exists. How am I doing on that so far? Oh, yay. Okay, so win for me, win for you, because you know who to go to if you've got a question and you can at least Google us, even if you didn't get one of my spiffy pens or bookmarks later today. All right, so we exist because of policies, and you know that, and you're going to go to our website. Number two, while you're at our website, take a look at what's one level, the Vice President for Research. Lots of amazing work happening here at Penn State. You might want to become familiar with that. I'm also going to put a shout out if what you're doing involves research computing. We have a fantastic resource for that, which is researchcomputing.psu.edu. There's even a guru to help you navigate that. Number three, you all need to take the SARI training, and it's important because it lays the groundwork for your research and scholarly work, regardless of what you're studying. And this is coming from someone who actually came here to study poetry. And knowing what research misconduct is going to help you avoid research misconduct. If you have concerns, you're going to contact us. And please, contact us early rather than too late. And lastly, know that we're here to help you navigate all of these different policies and respond to your concerns. Stop by and see us with questions, and we're here to help you. So, best of luck to you as you embark on your new journey, and don't lose sight of that truth you're seeking. Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to close out our kind of afternoon sessions with a section that concerns your health and the resources that Penn State has to help you stay healthy so that you can actually do all the great research that you came here to do. We are going to start with Kate Staley from Counseling and Psychological Services here at Penn State.
There's usually another one. Okay. So hello, my name's Kate Staley, and I'm one of the assistant directors of counseling and psych services, and in particular of outreach and community education. And I'm here to tell you a little bit about CAPS, so the Counseling and Psych Services, which is your student counseling center, and all the different ways, if you're needing help of any sort, that you might be able to get it through us. So one of the ways that I like to start this talk is kind of to start by talking about a little bit about kind of the transition you're in and just have made moving here. I actually went also to graduate school here a number of years ago in clinical psych, and I remember very, very kind of potently the feeling that this was a choice that I had made that was very different from earlier choices. For me, going through high school was a kind of a given, and then college and my family was also kind of a given. And so for me, in many respects, choosing to go to graduate school and then choosing Penn State in particular was a really personal choice, and a choice that I felt very independent of kind of societal expectations or family expectations. And so I really encourage you, if you also feel that way, that you embrace the fact that this is really your active choice. I think I also felt very much that I got to finally focus in on the things that were most meaningful to me in terms of the studies that I was doing. So no longer did I have to take courses that I felt were pretty extraneous to the things that I wanted to focus in on, but I got to focus in on the things that I cared about, that kind of rounded out my education and let me dig deep into the things that I was really invested in. Obviously, in that case, clinical psychology. I think one of the things that you may also experience is that you really are fully recognized now as an adult. So depending upon where you came from, a different country, a different way of schooling, for the most part, though, here in the States, students graduate and they're around 22, 23. And, there's a little bit in college here that you might be a little bit soft-pedaled as a kind of half kid, half adolescent, young adult. But I think in graduate school, even if you are coming straight from undergraduate and you really are still 22, 23, or in that age range, kind of the gloves are off and you are really an adult. And I think that there's really a huge joy in that, because you are really taken very seriously for the choices you're making and the endeavor that you're trying to do. You're assumed to be an intelligent, responsible adult who's capable of making choices, capable of advocating for themselves when they need help, understands when they might need to seek help. And that's really a joy, in my opinion, and one that I wanted to kind of share with you. I think graduate school is also an opportunity to make lifelong friends who have really deeply common interests, unlike college, where you're meeting people from lots of different kinds of majors and associating a lot in undergraduate and in your kind of dorms. Here, you will be working with people side by side who are going to be working with you a ton and have very specific interests that really align with yours, certainly academically and kind of at the content level. One of my closest friends still is somebody I met the very first day of graduate school who worked in my program, and we are still the dearest of friends. And then I think also for me, and I offer it to you, that it's really a great mix. So if you like variety in your life, there's a mix of classes, there's a mix of work, which might be your research assistantship, a teaching assistantship, perhaps a clinical assistantship if you're in one of the clinical programs here. And I think those are really amazing mixes, but also the collaboration with mentors and professors. As I said, since you're considered to be much more of an adult, you are now kind of mixing with the graduate faculty in a way that's much more, not quite a peer relationship, but much closer than it was in college than you might have had before. And as part of that, you really get to develop and usually work closely with one or two or three mentors, people who are particularly invested in you, who are particularly helping you develop in your kind of chosen field. And I found that to be a really amazing relationship, one in which you are really able to seek help, and there's a little much kind of bi-directional. And so I think of those as kind of the joys. But there are challenges, and there are reasons that you may end up feeling like some of those challenges are kind of maxing out your ability to cope well. So there is no doubt that at Penn State, at a Research One university, there are expectations for high academic performance. And I think you'll feel that as you move through. I don't say that to put you on your guard, but just to kind of state a fact that people want you to do well. There's a lot of support to do well, but there's also a lot of expectation that you will do well. And if you find yourself struggling in classes, there's an expectation that you can self-advocate and seek help, and that you will do that. You won't wait passively for somebody else to notice. There can be financial pressures. Many of you may be on certain types of assistantships, scholarships, or fellowships. Some may not, and those can pose some financial pressures. That relationship with a mentor that I talked about, that I think is so incredibly amazing, can at times have a flip side in which you feel a lot of demands, you feel expectations, or they're going through their own stresses and aren't buffering you from them. And so sometimes that relationship can be a little challenging, a little tough, hard to negotiate the barriers and boundaries in those relationships. And that's something that CAPS can help you with. It's a normative part of graduate school, but sometimes you may feel like you need a little extra help, a little extra advice. You might experience something called imposter syndrome. This isn't a real syndrome in any kind of clinical sense at all, but it is something that people very commonly feel like, oops, maybe I somehow got into Penn State through a back door. Maybe it's because I got along well with the people who interviewed me. Maybe I didn't really earn my spot here. Everybody else seems a little bit more smart than I, a little bit more prepared than I am, a little bit able to manage their time better. Maybe I really don't deserve a spot here. And I can assure you that that's a common feeling, not based in fact. Penn State is a rigorous program, a rigorous institution that really vets and kind of goes through a long interview process for its graduate students. And if you are chosen, you have earned your spot here. We are totally happy to have you here. And your feelings of imposter that maybe you feel like you're not quite up to it, again, something to talk to your advisor, your mentor about, something also to come to CAPS for if you feel like it's creating a lot of anxiety for you. And then time management. That is an ongoing issue, but one that you may feel in particular in the first semester of Penn State as a graduate student. I well remember coming home after my first week of graduate program, talking to my boyfriend, and bursting into tears and saying, oh my gosh, there's 500 pages of reading this week alone in every single class, and kind of freaking out about it. Pretty common. You don't actually have to read every single page of 500 pages in each class. You will figure out how to manage it. It's a task, it's a big task, and I encourage you to kind of delve into it and begin to figure that out. But again, if you need help, there are people in your graduate program to help you, and again, CAPS is available. You may reach the limit of your current coping skills. And by that I mean that if you're somebody who typically took a 5-mile run to calm yourself down and manage your stress, or who slept 10 hours and now finds it's a little harder to get that 10 hours of sleep, or who watched, 5 episodes of Friends on Netflix and binge watched something, that you might not have the full amount of time to do that, or that those skills may not work as well. CAPS offers a huge range of options, which I'll go into shortly, to help you learn more effective coping skills. And I encourage you to come and use us as that mechanism to help yourself, and to do so early on in your career as a graduate student. And the last two challenges, there may be many more, but these are kind of the ones that we find that are the most obvious and the most salient for new grads, is living on your own if you haven't already done that at some time in college or before graduate school, and living with new roommates. And that can be a big thing. If you've ever had a roommate where it didn't feel like it was a great relationship, that can be tough to negotiate. How do you talk to them? How do you manage the conflict? How do you create a positive way of being in the same space together? Again, something that many people can help you with, but CAPS is among them. And another challenge that most of you probably have, I'm guessing, that at the very least you've moved to a new place, that State College and University Park are not someplace that you've been to before. It might be a new state, a new country. It might feel culturally very different from a city that you came to a more rural environment, from an East Coast, West Coast to central, kind of more central in the United States. And so those can be challenges in where you feel that you're not kind of fully in your comfort zone. So let me tell you a little bit about CAPS and what we are and how we can help you. We are a counseling mental health center. We are your counseling and mental health center. We are for Penn State students from undergraduate through all levels of graduate school. We are not here for staff and faculty beyond some consulting, which I'll talk to you about in a second. We don't see them for their own issues. They can't take our clinics and groups. And so you don't have to worry in our waiting room that you're going to run into your mentor or professor because it simply won't happen. We are staffed by licensed PhDs and master's students and professionals. We have some advanced trainees, but they're under a lot of clinical supervision from people like myself. And we serve all students, inclusive of any types of difference, minority status, and we welcome everybody, and we are really committed to that. Our services are confidential, and that means with unless a very few exceptions, that you have to sign a specific release of information for us to release that you are even attending a session at CAPS in any capacity. So that means if you told your best friend or your parent or maybe the head of your scholarship program back home that you were attending the Student Counseling Center and they just wanted to check that you came or to hear a little bit more about what's happening for you, if they called, we would be able to listen to maybe some of their concerns if they had some about how you're doing, but we would not be able to share any information about you, including we could not even confirm that you were attending CAPS. So you really can trust that we are a confidential service on campus. And that includes for things like an assault situation, stalking, anything that's particularly that might take you kind of in a Title IX direction. We are actually confidential for that, and we don't need to mandate report those to Penn State. So that's important to know. We do also want to let you know that we're primarily a short-term agency. And so if you have long-term clinical needs, long-standing issues that predated your time at Penn State, and you want to continue to get counseling and seek help for that, which we would encourage you, we can help you connect with a downtown community therapist, but we would probably not be your best choice because we are short-term. And there are other campus clinics that we can direct you to and refer you to. And we would make sure through our own case management services that you get connected. We don't want you falling through a crack and not getting the help you need, but we want to be upfront that for the most part, we are a short-term agency. And we also have what we call rapid access urgent services. In other words, if you're in some kind of crisis or a particularly adverse event happens, somebody dies, sexual assault, a particularly disturbing incident of something else, you can reach out to us on the same day or walk into our clinic during our open hours, which is Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. You can also call, and then we will get you in either the same day or the next day. So we always can do that, even though you may hear by October or November that we run a wait list. That wait list is for therapy with people who've already been seen at least once on a screening phone call. And the rapid access crisis is separate from that. There is really never, if you are in crisis, a time where we won't be able to see you. We are committed to that completely. So what do we do? I talked about us as a counseling center, and one of the things that I want to expand on is that we are really a full-service mental health clinic, which means we do things like prevention, so we try and help prevent any big problems from developing by offering a range of services for that. And so we do this in a different way by trying to offer easy-to-access drop-in services. We have something called CAPS Chat, for instance, which are embedded counselors in about 12 different locations around campus, from the library, student legal services, the law school, dorms, the Gender and Sexual Diversity Center, a bunch of different places which you can find on our website. And those are full-time, full professional staff therapists waiting to talk to you on a drop-in as-needed basis for half an hour, one-on-one. It's for non-urgent, so if you're in crisis, we want you to use our crisis services. But this might be, for instance, for an emerging problem with somebody in your lab, or difficulty with time management, or a relationship that's beginning to go sour, either with a roommate or a romantic partner or somebody else. And we can offer a service to talk to you, give you some feedback, some thoughts, some tips, and also make sure you connect if you need more of our services. And those are 2-hour, in, as I said, 12 different locations. We also offer on a routine basis, most Mondays and Tuesdays at 4 p.m., something called Life Hacks, Life hacks are 1-hour workshops on a range of topics that we have found grads and undergrads need a little help with. Things like stress management, mindfulness, perfectionism, how to address sleep problems, how to manage that early transition into graduate school or undergraduate. These are great places to pick up tips and advice, to see if your symptoms, which you're experiencing, are normal, which most of them will likely be, and to also offer you some coping strategies that we actually practice in the moment, so that you walk away from each life hacks understanding some better ways to cope and some ideas about how to kind of move forward. And those are Mondays and Tuesdays from 4 to 5 p.m. at the Student Health Center. You have to check our website for the topic and for the actual location. And then we have a range of drop-in support groups that you can literally just drop in. You don't need to commit. And in any of these services, you don't need to give us your name and ID and tell us who you are. Some people feel from the way they grew up or their culture or whatever, or just in their own sense, that going to a mental health agency might have a little bit of stigma with it. We want to assure you that it doesn't need to have stigma, that we are just here to help you, and that, in our opinion, the strongest thing you can do is realize when you need help and then ask for it, because we're here to help you. But we also want to recognize that some people do feel a little bit of stigma, and they might need to initially connect with CAPS through one of these services in which you can just drop in, and you don't need to kind of give us your name and information. We also have a range of other services that we consider kind of further along and more intensive. We offer 4-session skill-focused clinics. We call them clinics, and there's like an anxiety clinic, a mindfulness clinic, a low mood clinic, a stress management clinic, on a range of the same topics I already discussed. And they meet 4 weeks in a row for an hour and a half with 6 to 8 other students. It might be undergrads and grads, and it's led by 2 staff therapists. And the great thing here is that you get a lot of education in a short burst of time around the issue, anxiety or mindfulness, and you again have the opportunity to practice those skills together, and then you come back and you learn another lesson. So for instance, with a mindfulness clinic, which I've taught, every single time we meet, we'll teach you 3 different mindfulness strategies: a body-based relaxation technique, an imagery technique, and a breathing technique to slow your breathing and learn how to soothe yourself and calm down. At the end of 4, that means you're going to have 12 different strategies that you know that you didn't know walking in. And who knows, the likelihood is that anywhere from 8 to all 12 maybe will be ways that you can now, in your own kind of toolkit of coping, learn how to cope better. We also provide short-term individual counseling. Penn State is one of the few universities of our size that continues to commit to treatment and not just occasional meetings. So we actually have counseling with a range of different therapists. You get up to 6 sessions for free. That is depending upon your need, the presenting issue, the time of year, if it's at the end of the semester. And then you get up to 3 more for $15 a piece. And these cover a variety of issues, from anxiety to depression, to homesickness, to coping skills, to old family issues, to a range of other issues that we can help you with. We also provide ongoing semester-long process groups. A process group is just a kind of a fancy way to say that you meet again with 6 to 8 other students, and you work together on very common issues that are happening among the graduates. So we have grad-only groups as well as mixed undergrad and grad. And again, sometimes they're general interpersonal, meaning that they're focusing on a whole range of issues, and you get advice and feedback from people in the group. You are also able to offer it to them, and you learn from each other, guided by 2 staff therapists. These are some of the examples of our groups: depression, stress management. We also have a variety of eating disorder recovery groups if you are struggling with some kind of eating issue. And you can always see our website for lists of groups and clinics that are running this fall. What else do? We connect you with campus and community resources and services, particularly if you need longer-term care, if you need more specialized care, for instance, for alcohol or drug issues, although we do some of that in-house. If you need ongoing psychiatric care, we do provide our own in-house psychiatric services, and by psychiatric, we mean that we have 4 medically trained professionals who will help you if you need, say, therapy plus a medication to kind of manage your anxiety in the short term. Or if you're coming with a full neuropsychological evaluation for ADHD and you want to transfer your medication management to us, that's something we can explore together as long as you have a full neuropsych evaluation in hand in the last few years. We also offer couples counseling, which can be really helpful for grads. If you're in a relationship now and you've come with a spouse or a partner, or you have a long-distance relationship, or you develop one while you're here, sometimes those can be problematic. As long as one of you is a student, you can both do counseling, and we will do couples counseling as well. We do outreach and consultation, which is something like what I'm doing today, but also if you are grads who are going to be teaching classes, and you want somebody like me to come into your class and do a brief stress management for an hour, kind of teaching your undergrads about stress management, all you do is submit the outreach request form on our website, and then we arrange it if you give us a few weeks' notice, and somebody on our staff will come in and do a really great clinic just for your students to help them manage stress or insomnia or test anxiety, whatever you think you're seeing in your undergraduate class. And then again, as I said, we have the urgent services and crisis services. This is a little bit more about them. Urgent appointments are individual appointments with our staff. They're scheduled within 48 hours of calling, or if you walk in crisis. And we are open from Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. If you have a crisis or an urgent issue that occurs after hours, say panic attacks throughout the night, or there's really a range of issues, or a weekend crisis, we really want you to call the Penn State Call-In Crisis Line. This is a dedicated crisis line. By definition of calling this particular number, 877-229-6400, they know you're a Penn State student. They don't know anything else about you, so you can just share your first name if that's all you feel comfortable. But they will help you. You will talk to a real person, and they will stay on the phone, understanding your situation, helping you calm down if that's what's needed, and helping you connect with resources. If you really don't want to talk to somebody, but you're a texter and that's the only thing you feel comfortable, the same service exists on a crisis text line by texting LIONS to 741-741. If it's a true emergency, then we want you to call the police either on campus or using 911. We have a range of online resources. These will be expanded this year as well. We have a website that has a whole listing of all of our clinics and groups. It also has a number of other resources, including something called WellTrack, which we pay for. It's a self-help tool that has a range of modules for depression and anxiety. Some of them are video-based. They walk you through a bunch of different skills. They also have a mood check that helps you kind of understand how you're feeling throughout the day. And then for those of you that might be, again, lab managers or TAs or RAs, we have something called the Red Folder. And I can talk more about that at another point if you want to invite me to your class or to your department group. But basically the Red Folder is both a physical Red Folder and an online tool at this website. And it teaches you kind of in a one-stop shopping about the resources, about how to help students in distress if you have an undergraduate student in your lab or class that's distressed, and how to get help in the best way and most effectively. How do we work? You call this number, 863-0395, and you can schedule a screening call. A screening call is literally just a 15-minute call where we run through a bunch of questions that we have. We ask everybody the same set of questions, and they help us understand the issue that you're coming to us with, and then by the end of the call, in those last 5 minutes, we figure out the best way to help you, and we recommend it. It might be counseling, it might be an urgent session, scheduled either the same day or the next day, or again, some of these other outreaches, group therapy, psychiatric services that I've already talked about. You might want to take a picture of this slide. This is kind of our main slide, who we are and how to reach us. Again, we're located in the Students' Health Center on the 5th floor. We actually have 2 other satellite offices, but this would be the main place to come. We're open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. Our phone number, our website, and again, the 2 crisis options in terms of calling after hours or on weekends. This is us on Facebook and Twitter. Please find us. We announce a lot of activities. We have a great thing in the early fall and again right before finals called Caring Canines. We bring a whole bunch of really amazing dogs and puppies to the kind of lawn outside of CAPS It's a great stress reducer. There's actually tons of research about even petting a dog for 5 minutes can reduce stress. So we have fun activities, and we also offer a range of other options. Thanks very much.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Adrienne Thompson, and I serve as a marketing strategy specialist for University Health Services. So today we'll kind of go over where and how you can seek medical treatment at Penn State, the services offered through University Health Services, the Penn State immunization requirements, and then Karen will go over the student health insurance requirements and plan details. So in the United States, there are a variety of healthcare facilities that treat different conditions with varying degrees of urgency and specialization. So here at Penn State, we do have hospitals and emergency rooms. So these are only for really life-threatening emergencies, severe illnesses, or injuries. As you may know, these can be very costly. So if you are experiencing an emergency while at Penn State, of course, please call 911 so you can be transported to the nearest emergency room, which in this case is the Mount Nittany Medical Center. You can access that center through the Red Link, which is a free CATA offered through Penn State. If your condition isn't life-threatening, we have a couple other options. So one of them, of course, is local doctor's offices, which you may know are sometimes referred to as general practitioners or family doctors. These you should use these if you're not enrolled in the Penn State Student Health Insurance Plan, which can be commonly referred to as SHIP. These typically require an appointment, and some doctors may not accept new or short-term patients. We also have urgent care and walk-ins. There's a bunch of these downtown, as well as some up on Atherton near that Walmart. If you experience a medical issue when UHS isn't open, you can choose to seek treatment here. These facilities typically offer longer operating hours, and there aren't any appointments necessary to be seen here. Please note, though, that the urgent care centers typically can cost more than a standard on-campus healthcare center or a doctor's office visit, but these are significantly less than an emergency room. So University Health Services, commonly known as UHS, is your campus health center. It is located within the Student Health Center along with CAPS. It is on Beggar Road, which is kind of right near Nittany Apartments, as well as right across from the Career Services Building, as well as next to the Eisenhower parking deck. So it's kind of like that little circle right there. There they do have board-certified physicians and clinicians. They're able to diagnose and treat patients from their convenient on-campus location, and this should be your first stop for medical care, especially if you're enrolled in the Penn State SHIP. So UHS during the week by appointment only. They're open Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And then on Wednesdays, they're open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. On Saturdays, during the fall and spring semesters only, they have urgent care walk-ins from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Again, for medical emergencies, always call 911 for an ambulance, but to also address medical concerns at any time, you can call the UHS Advice Nurse at 814-863-4463, and they are available 24 hours a day. So students who have ongoing medical conditions are strongly urged to schedule an appointment with UHS shortly after arriving on campus to establish care. So the medical services at UHS, where the clinicians are able to provide treatment for things commonly such as like sore throats, fevers, colds, flu, allergies, asthma, and any other pre-existing conditions. We also have a couple of teams such as the Lions team and Heals team. So the Lions team, which is short for the Living in Our Natural Selves, which is for transgender and non-conforming students, as well as Heals, which is short for Healthy Eating and Living Support, which supports healthy eating and decision making. We also have a couple specializations in men's and women's health, physical exam, sexual health, so STDs and STI testing, as well as travel health. So So the pharmacy is located in the Student Health Center. Once you walk in the Student Health Center, it technically is the second floor, but if you look to your right, that's where the pharmacy is located. There you're able to get over-the-counter medications, healthcare products, existing prescriptions that can be transferred to that pharmacy as well. We have x-ray and ultrasound, which of course have imaging services for the abdomen, uterus, ovaries, and so much more. We also have physical therapy and a clinical lab. So at physical therapy, they also address a variety of concerns for like ankle sprains, knee or shoulder pains, chronic neck and back pains, sports-related injuries, post-surgical conditions, and more. At the clinical lab, they're able to analyze your blood, urine, and other specimens. So in order to set up an appointment at UHS, we do have an online access to your care, which is My UHS. You can access that through the Student Affairs website, so it'll be studentaffairs.psu.edu/myuhs. There you can make appointments 24/7, submit forms, send and receive secure messages with your clinician, print copies of your bill, and so much more. So once you get on the Student Affairs site, studentaffairs.psu.edu/health, you're able to click the My UHS link, and then you'll be brought to this site. I know the screens are up a little high, but if you look up there, you'll be able to see the site that you'll be brought to. All you have to do is scroll down, and you'll have to click I am a Penn State student, and then you'll be directed right to that site. So just like CAPS and most other things, your care is strictly confidential here. We do not share patient information with parents, faculty, staff, or anyone else without consent from you, the patient. At UHS, we only see registered students. Spouses of students that are enrolled in Penn State SHIP also work as well, but we unfortunately do not provide medical services for children under the age of 18. If you look on the First Student website, you'll be able to see a bunch of different local healthcare options for children. So immunizations. Penn State requires all degree-seeking students, whether domestic or international, to be immunized against MMR, which is measles, mumps, and rubella, and meningitis, which is required for all students living in university housing. So in addition, Penn State also strongly encourages that all students be immunized against a bunch of different things such as HPV, pneumonia, hepatitis, varicella, and much more. UHS does have most of these immunizations if you aren't up to date, so please contact us to schedule an appointment. So in order to comply with the immunizations, all incoming undergrad and grad students must submit proof of immunizations. Immunization information may be submitted through a simple two-step process. So first, you can go onto our website, studentaffairs.psu.edu/health, and get onto the immunization portion. And there you'll be able to find the Penn State Immunization Verification Form. You must take that and print it out and get it filled out by your healthcare provider. Then you can log into My UHS with your Penn State credentials and upload those images of the completed form. This form, you can also take a picture of it with your phone for easy access, and all information must be submitted in English. So for students who fail to provide the immunization information, will have a registration hold placed on their account. I also must note, though, that after you submit the form, you may or you should receive an email or a secure message from My UHS stating your compliance status. Now that email may not be sent immediately after you send your forms in, but just make sure you're continuously checking your email and your secure messages to make sure that you're compliant. If you have any questions on that, please make sure that you reach out to our Health Information Management team. They're at the bottom floor of the Student Health Center. Their phone number is 814-863-1975, and their email is also uhs-him@psu.edu. All of this information and more, again, is on our Student Affairs website at studentaffairs.psu.edu/health, and you'll find all this information and more. And now Karen will be talking about the student health insurance plan. All right.
Ready? You did good. You did good.
So I'm Karen Klein. I'm the manager of student health insurance here for Penn State. We are part of University Health Services, so we are in that student health center. We are on, you saw the slide where she talked about the pharmacy. If you walk in, what is the second floor, but it's the first floor. The pharmacy is over on your right. We are over on the left. We are right there off the main entrance. So if you have questions, need assistance, don't hesitate to reach out to us. Our hours are that of the Student Health Center. Other than that, we're not clinical, so we are not open on Fridays. So you do want to make sure that if you need to reach out to us, you do it during the week. That being said, you can always leave a message with our answering service after hours and we can call you back, or you can email us and we will get back to you within 5 to 7 business days right now during open enrollment. So what is the role of our office? There are currently 5 of us in our office, and the role of our office is first and foremost to make sure there's insurance for all students. So we make sure that there's insurance for graduate students, undergraduate students, international students, domestic students, students here at UP, as well as students across the Commonwealth. So that's our first and primary responsibility. The second thing is we are the ones that will enforce the international student requirement. So if you are an international student with dependents, you do have a requirement that you have health insurance while you are here at Penn State. But the third thing that we do is we make sure we're here to help you. If you're having problems with the insurance company, you don't understand what you've been told, you have problems with a claim, you're having problems understanding benefits, let us know, work with us, talk to us. We'll help you with that. We'll try to work with you to get you the answers you need or to explain something you don't understand. We also have a language line at the health center. So if you're not understanding what we're trying to talk to you about and we need to get somebody on the phone that speaks the same language, we've not had to do it, but we can. So there is an option for you. So one of the things we're going to do first before we get into all of the details is what's insurance here in the U.S. Healthcare here in the U.S., we do not have a nationalized health plan. So everybody is responsible for their own health care. Many of you have probably been, as undergraduates, were probably on mom and dad's insurance or a guardian's. Guess what? You may still be on theirs, but at some point you're going to come off. So let's talk about what is insurance. Because when you go see a doctor, you go to the emergency room, for example, you're going to come out with 2 bills, a hospital bill and a bill from the emergency room doctor. And that is just walking into the hospital for not feeling good. That doesn't include the tests and if they have to do radiology or any other services. So easily walking in to just go to the emergency room. And remember Adrian made the comment about it's less expensive. It's still expensive, but it's less expensive to go to urgent care than an emergency room. That is extremely true. Going into an emergency room, coming out with 2 bills, you're easily looking at $500 to $1,000 just to start. So what is insurance? Health insurance is works the same way as car insurance and life insurance. Car insurance, what does a car insurance company want you to do? Go ahead, yell it out. What do they want for you? They want you to drive safe, right? Right. What does a life insurance carrier want for you? Live a really long life, right? Because they want to, what are you doing while you have that insurance? You're paying a premium. So, and for health insurance, it's all of us, all of you as students are going to be paying premium. That money that you will pay, that sum of money gets put into a pool. It is from that pool, when you need to have services, that money gets pulled for those services to be paid. It's not that you're not going to pay anything. Just like car insurance, you have a deductibles and other things that you're responsible for before the insurance. So you are going to still have some costs other than just the insurance. It just talks at that video it's on our website, and it just kind of does what is health insurance and the cost of it and the financial impact if you realize you don't have health insurance that's going to work for you here. Some terms you need to know, and again, this applies whether it's medical, life, or auto, any type of insurance. The first thing is dependents. Dependence is kind of self-explanatory. If you have a spouse, they depend on you. If you have children, they depend on you. They are your dependents. Premiums, that's the money you're paying to have the protection against future potential loss. Networks. This is where the doctors, the hospital, the service providers have contracted with the insurance companies or to only allow, they agree to accept what the insurance company says is going to be allowed. Why is this important? Because Dr. Jones sees you and you have services at his office. He bills $500 for his services. If the provider is contracted and the insurance carrier says, we're only allowing $300, they have to write off the additional $200. If you are going to a doctor, Dr. Jones is not part of your contract with your insurance carrier, and you go see him, guess who gets to pay the additional $200 that the insurance isn't even going to consider? You are. So it's really important that you pay attention to those networks. So the copay, again, this is a term, the copay, deductible, and co-insurance are terms that the insurance companies call cost sharing. They are terms that they want you to pay before they start paying. So a copay, the best way to think about this is as like a movie ticket. You're going to pay a copay to go see the doctor. You're going to pay a flat amount. You're not going to be able to go see the movie and then pay on your way out. They make you pay before you can even get into the theater. Heaven forbid you can't even get to the concession stand without making payment first. So the copay is the same type of thing. You're coming in, you're going to make the payment, you know that it's going to be owed. For our student health insurance plan, that's $10. You're going to pay that, you're going to be seen. And as long as all they're doing is having an office visit, you're just talking to the doctor and then leave, that's going to be all you pay. Deductible, on the other hand, so the copay you pay at the time of service, deductible and co-insurance, never, ever pay them up front. If the provider tells you that you have to because they know what the insurance is going to do, that's between you and the provider, but I would fight them. Do not pay them up front. You do not know the contracts. You do not know what the insurance company is going to allow, and you don't know, you may not know, you may know you haven't met your deductible, but you don't know until you see how the insurance company has paid it. So the deductibles and co-insurances, you always want to wait for a bill from the provider and an explanation of benefits, that piece of paper that says how the claim was paid. It's going to tell you what you owe. So the first thing is deductible. It's typically a set dollar amount that you're responsible for before the insurance company will go into the co-insurance. So for our student health insurance plan, it's $250. So let's go back to Dr. Jones. He bills you the $500. The insurance company he's contracted allows $300. The first $250 is going to go towards that deductible. So there's still, it's a set amount. You know you're going to end up being responsible, but you're not paying it till you get the bill. The next piece is a co-insurance. There's still $50 left that's allowed by the insurance company. That co-insurance is a percentage. It's never a set dollar amount. It's a percentage that the insurance company is going to pay, and a percentage that you're going to be responsible for. So on our student health insurance plans, your co-insurance as a student, once your deductible's met for the plan year, is 10%. So the insurance is going to pay 90%. So they're going to look at that additional $50. They're going to say, okay, we're going to pay 90% and you're going to pay 10%. 10% of $50 is $5. I'm not a mathematician, I'll say that up front, so I do easy math. So the first time you go see Dr. Jones and he runs this test, the $300, you're going to end up owing $255 once the insurance company's considered it and you get the bill from the doctor. Let's say it's an ongoing problem and you go back to Dr. Jones and he bills the same service, he does the same test again on you, and so there's still the $300, but your deductible's met. Now the insurance company is going to go, we're going to pay 90% of $300 and you're responsible for 10%. You're going to pay $30. The insurance company is going to pay $270. So these is, again, it's the deductible and the co-insurance. Wait till you get bills for those. Don't pay those when you're going up front. If you do pay them when you get the explanation of benefits, and if you've paid too much or have an issue, you'll need to go back to the provider that you paid to get your money back. And you'll want that explanation of benefits to show them, to work with them, to get them to reimburse you. So health insurance is not required for all students. Be very straight up. It is required for international students and their dependents. This is because, especially as international students, you come here to the U.S. and you may or may not be used to more of a socialized medicine. And the insurance, the way things work here in the U.S. is totally different. And it is not uncommon, even for students that are domestic and permanent residents, it is not uncommon that you don't always understand it either. And there's many a time even I don't know what my benefits are till I have to use them. So we've put this requirement, the universities put this requirement in place over 30 years ago to make sure and to protect our students while they're here. Because the last thing we want you to do is get sick, not get the care you need, and then it disrupts your academic career. Or even worse, to leave here from Penn State owing more for medical care and services that you incurred unexpectedly than what you owe for your getting your degree. So how are you going to meet the insurance? We're going to talk about the insurance and how you are going to take care of it. It gets very complicated for graduate assistants, graduate fellows. So what we're going to do is we're going to walk through what the benefits of the plan are that we have, the costs, and then we're going to walk through the step-by-step. So I realize this is going to get kind of muddy, but we're going to do our best. I'm going to do my best. You have two options. As graduate assistants, graduate fellows, you automatically get enrolled in medical, dental, and vision as student only. For if you do not have an assistantship, you will not be automatically enrolled in anything unless you're an international student, and then it will be on your student account. This is the first year that we have applied the tuition to the student account. So for international students, if you are working with other internationals that have been here for a while, and they tell you you've got to do it online through First Student or something else, look at them and say, no, you need to go be reading the emails that you're getting because it's going to be all done through LionPath. And for you that have graduate assistants, it's going to be WorkLion, Workday, and then LionPath. And Workday and WorkLion is the mother application. Workday is actually the payroll application within that we'll be talking about. So the student health insurance plan, what is it? In 2010, President Obama put into place the Affordable Care Act. Okay, there's no subsidy, there's no penalties for taxes anymore starting this year, but that does not mean that everything with the Affordable Care Act has gone away. So the Affordable Care Act, when they got put into place, said that student health insurance plans fell into the metal tiers that are part of the individual market. So what happened, we are a platinum level plan, which is the highest level you can find on healthcare.gov. We have a very low, it is a $250 deductible. We do have a low deductible, and we have a capped amount of out-of-pocket. United Healthcare Student Resources underwrites our plan. This was designed with input from other students, from the Graduate and Professional and Student Association, as well as international students and undergrad students. So it's not something that the university just said, this is what we're going to give you, tough luck, suck it up. It's not what we've done. We've included students to make sure that this works for you. We have a wide network of coverage. It works throughout the U.S., and it will work for you outside of the U.S. as well. If you are traveling on Penn State business, doing research or conferences outside of the country, there is a blanket policy that the university puts you into. It is at no cost to you. But if you are going for personal travel to Canada, Mexico, or somewhere else while you're here, you can use this and get reimbursed for your medical care should you need to use it. So what are the benefits of our plan? As I've mentioned, we have a $250 deductible. We do have the 90% in-network benefit. The max out-of-pocket is $1,300. So if something catastrophic should happen, the most you are going to pay is $1,300 before the insurance kicks in and pays 100%. Other things to know about, we do have the $10 office copay. There is an emergency room copay of $150. Please be aware that if you use the emergency room, you're not just paying the $150. It'll be the $150 plus the deductible if it's not already been met, and then it goes into the 90% co-insurance. So it can get remember I said about $1,000 to start out? It gets really expensive really fast. If you don't need the emergency room, you don't want to use the emergency room. And prescriptions. As you've noticed on the office visit copay and on the prescriptions, you can get the services at University Health Services at no charge to you. They are covered at 100% under the insurance plan. So if you are on a prescription that you take chronically for diabetes, or should you be on birth control that you take monthly, daily, and you need that prescription, you can get a 90-day supply and pay nothing as long as you get it through University Health Services. If you go outside of University Health Services to get your prescriptions, you're going to have the $10, $30, or $60 copay for a 30-day supply. And if you somehow find a pharmacy that is not contracted with them, you will be responsible for 50% of the charge. Again, University Health Services is, if you're going to be on the Penn State Student Health Insurance Plan, this is where you want to go for your care. If you go for care outside of University Health Services without getting a referral, you'll be 100% responsible for those bills from the providers that you saw. So you want to go through University Health Services. Again, all the deductibles, co-pays, co-insurances that we've talked about, all that money out of your own pocket is all waived, and that takes care of your labs, x-rays, physical therapy, the ambulance if you need to call them while you're on campus, and again, the prescriptions, and you can do a 30 or 90-day supply. If you do need to go see a specialist, if it's an emergency, you go straight to the emergency room. If you don't know if it's an emergency and you're not sure, what should I do, you can call the advice nurse that's 24/7, and they'll guide you through and walk you and either tell you get to the emergency room, or you can do this until University Health Services is opened. So utilize those services. But if you do need to go to a specialist, for diabetes, you need to go see an endocrinologist. You get migraines, so you need to go see a neurologist. You will be given a referral by University Health Services. They will help you set up the appointment. They will make sure that you are referred to, as long as you have the Penn State Student Health Insurance Plan, they will make sure you are referred to a provider that is in network with your plan, so that you don't have to worry about all those, what about the stuff that's not covered by the insurance. There's a couple other benefits that I want to bring up here. The first one is the United Healthcare Global. So this is my morbid part of the conversation. How many plan on getting sick or dying while you are here at Penn State? Thank you. Nobody raised their hands. That's good. I typically get it 1 or 2, and if you did, I didn't see you. You got away with it. The United Healthcare Global is our emergency. They're our global emergency services part of our insurance. They are part of all of our medical plans here for Penn State for students. The main primary purpose of them is the medical evacuation and repatriation, specifically for our international students, but it can work for our domestic students as well. If you were to get sick and be in the hospital and going to be there for a while and need somebody to come over, they will make the arrangements and pay for somebody to come over. If you need to go back to your home country and need a medical escort to be monitored until you get back to your home country, they will make sure that that happens. Again, they will make the arrangements and pay for. It is not an insurance. It's not you make the arrangements or somebody else in your family makes the arrangements. The other thing they do is the repatriation. Should, and we don't want it for anybody, but should something happen to you and you pass away while you're here, they will take care of getting your remains returned back to your home country. And they will take care of all of the finances and arrangements to do that. Again, it is not an insurance. It's not have somebody else in your family take care of it and then get reimbursed. So if a parent or loved one decides that they are going to do all of this and then try to get reimbursed, they're going to be out the money. The other two things we want to mention briefly are the Healthiest You. It's telemedicine. So University Health Services is closed and you just really want to talk to a doctor. If you have the Penn State student health insurance, on the back of your ID card that you'll be able to call the Healthiest You and talk to a doctor. They can do Zoom, Skype, other things, other technologies, so you can actually have a one-on-one conversation. It's not meant to replace the health center. It's not meant to replace other services, but at least if you just need to talk to somebody about that, about a medical concern you have, especially if you're not here at campus, you're doing research and you're away from campus and you need to talk to somebody, this is a benefit that is $40 to any student, but if you have the student health insurance plan, it is free for you. There is no cost to you. BetterHelp is the same type of thing except for mental health. So again, you heard all the resources from Kate about CAPS and all the services they offer, but again, you have this benefit that if you are a student on the Penn State Student Health Insurance Plan, you can call them, talk to them, have that conversation, and again, at no cost to you. There's more information about these benefits on the First Student website, so you're welcome to look them up whenever you need to know more about them. So let's get into the important things. The things you really were here for is let's talk about the rates. Yes, undergraduate students are less. Let's get that out of the way. Graduate students, for an individual plan, the cost is $3,336 for the year. That is 9% down from last year. So we are working on trying to be able to bring the costs down and still not cost you any other additional out-of-pocket costs. Excuse me. So as a graduate student, if you do not have an assistantship or fellowship and you are an international student, for the fall you are going to see $1,289 on your tuition bill. When you register for classes about 24 to 48 hours later, this is going to be part of the tuition calculation. It's going to be part of your bill, and you'll pay it right along with your tuition. If you are a domestic student, you will get the option to waive or purchase, which we're going to talk about, but you will pay this directly to the insurance company. You'll have the option to do it either for the year or a payment plan or for the fall and then the spring, summer. When you register for classes in the spring, international students, the $2,047 will go on that bill with the spring. So the cost for a year is basically $278 a month. We just don't get to do a monthly rate for you. So how many here have already signed terms of agreement with their department or are going to be? Okay. You are the folks I need to talk to first. So those of you that don't have assistantship fellowships, you can tune out a little bit, but don't go to sleep on me, okay? Not yet. Let's get through this. But those of you that have assistantships or fellowships, you've got some benefits available to you. Your deductions are going to be taken for medical, dental, and vision through your stipend, starting at the end of September. So when payroll runs in September, you're going to see your first deductions taken. The medical runs from August 13 of this year to August 12 of next year. As long as your assistantship is for the year, your benefits will go for the entire year. If your assistantship ends in December, your benefits will end at the end of December. There are 4 deductions taken in the fall, so $64.45, because this is going to cover August 13th to December 31st. In the spring, you'll see the cost is higher, and its deductions are only taken January through May. That is because a lot of departments, the majority of departments, will end your assistantship at the end of May. So you may be doing wage payroll or some other type of work over the summer, but you won't have the premium deductions taken. So as long as you have the January through May deductions taken, your benefits are going to go, for medical, are going to run January 1st through August 12 of 2020. So you can see here that remember we said it's $3,336. The university for a student is going to pay that on a graduate assistantship fellowship is going to pay the $2,668. You as a student are going to pay $667.20. So it's a very good price. The university is subsidized. If you do have a spouse or a child, you're only going to have your spouse or one child on your plan, just one individual on your plan. The university will subsidize 75% of the premium. If you have 2+ dependents along with yourself on the insurance, the university will subsidize the medical at 76%. So you will be responsible for 24% for your dependents. And again, those will come out of your stipend, and you will see that starting in September. So the other benefit you get as a graduate assistant, graduate fellow is dental. So again, the university is going to pay 80% for you. So the cost for a year is $205.45. You're going to pay $51.31 across the year. Dental and vision do not start until September 1. Medical starts earlier because of international students arriving, and we need to make sure there's coverage before. Right now, while you guys are getting ready, starting classes, all of you, we need to make sure there's insurance available. The dental and vision will start for you September 1 of this year, and they will run through August 31st of next year. Again, the deductions start in September and run through May. So even though your assistantship may end at the end of May, the coverage will go through August because you will have the 5 deductions. And again, $4.29 for dental coverage for the fall and $6.83 in the spring, every month, but that's going to get you through the summer. I have asked a couple of our vendors to be here today with us. Sheila Stoller is from United Concordia, the company that has our dental plan, and she's going to tell you a little bit more about that.
Thank you, Karen. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm just going to walk through basically what the dental plan entails. We'll be out at the table afterwards. If you have any specific questions, we'll be more than happy to answer those for you. The dental plan, as Karen alluded to, begins September 1st through August 31st. Each person enrolled in the dental plan would get a $1,000 benefit for that contract period. So you have $1,000 that you can spend either on preventive care, basic services, or major services. The preventive care is covered at 100% when you see a participating network provider. So on the website, there will be a link to unitedconcordia.com where you can look at a Nittany Dental network dentist when you're in Center County. When you travel outside Center County, you would access the Advantage network of dentists. You maximize your benefits, obviously, when you do see a network provider. That network provider has negotiated with United Concordia to not balance bill you for any charges. He or she will accept a negotiated fee. So when you receive your basic or your preventive services, your preventive and diagnostic, it's covered at 100%. When you receive basic services such as restorations, fillings, root canals, you get into more of the periodontal services, those are going to be covered at 80% in network. And then when you get into major services such as crowns, inlays, onlays, they're significantly major services. Those would all be covered under 60% in the plan, covered up to $1,000 worth per person per contract year. Orthodontia, the braces to move your teeth, those services are not covered under this plan. There is a $25 per person, $50 per family deductible that would be taken for the basic services or the major services, but not for your preventive care. Okay, I'm going to turn it back over to Karen. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to come out and see us at the table at the Students Services. We will be happy to help you.
Thank you, Sheila. So the next thing we're going to talk about is your vision care. We do not have the same, United Concordia handles the faculty, staff, as well as the student, the graduate assistant, graduate fellow, graduate trainee benefits. We do not have the same vision provider as the faculty staff because it would have cost more for you as students, and really the only thing for that cost that they could tell me was that they could give you all hearing exams. Hearing, vision. Yeah, didn't make sense. So we did a lot of talking with the Graduate and Professional Student Association and our Student Insurance Advisory Board and the leadership at the university, and we have stayed with Highmark Davis Vision. Again, your costs for the year are broken out the same way as the dental, and again, we'll start to September 1, and you will have the insurance through August 31st of next year. The cost that you're going to pay for a year is $13.89. For the fall, you're paying $1.16 a month to have dental coverage, vision coverage. So how many of you are Starbucks coffee drinkers? I'm telling you right now, this is a whole lot less expensive than your Starbucks coffee. So this is worth it, especially if you're using the benefits. I'm going to turn it over to Kurt Kuhl, who's from Highmark Blue Shield and with Davis Vision, and to talk about the benefits that you get for your vision.
Thanks, Karen. Highmark Blue Shield is the vision carrier. Davis Vision supports us through the website and claims processing. No different than the dental and the medical plan that you've heard about today. If you use in-network providers, you're going to get the highest level of benefits and the lowest amount of money out of your pocket when you seek care. You do have an out-of-network benefit, but again, using in-network is the best way to do things and get the highest level of benefits and the bang for your buck. As far as finding a provider, you would want to go to highmarkblueshield.com and click on the top of it. It says find a provider. You would want to click on that and then find a vision provider and search from there. The benefits that have been put in place allow you to have exams, glasses, frames, or contacts in lieu of glasses once every 12 months. So a nice benefit from that standpoint. In your exam, if you go to an in-network provider, is covered in full. If you want frames, there are a number of different options. There's a collection at some of the providers where you can get the frames for free or a small copay if you don't care for those frames or maybe they don't fit you right. You actually get a $130 allowance at most in-network providers. If you choose to go to VisionWorks, there's actually an additional $50 allowance. There's VisionWorks store over by the Colonnade here in State College, so you can access that and actually get $180 worth of frames there. Again, best thing you can do is use in-network providers. There's also a benefit where you can get a discount on LASIK surgery. It is not a benefit for LASIK per se, but it's actually a discount. And also, if you have contacts, there's a mail order contact program as well. Again, we'll be at the table afterwards. If you have specific questions, we'd be glad to talk to you. Thank you.
All right, I've got about 4 minutes to go through a whole bunch of stuff, so I am going to do my best, and I'm telling you right now, I apologize to the graduate school. I don't think I'm going to be done in 4 minutes. There is a new process, as I mentioned, this year, and it is through LionPath. So if you are an international student, as I said, you're going to pay through LionPath with your tuition. If you are a domestic student and not on an assistantship, you'll be able to purchase. If you are not using the university insurance, you will need to go through LionPath and complete the waiver. As a graduate assistant, graduate fellow, let me give you some hints. The first thing you need to do, you're automatically going to be enrolled in medical, dental, and vision. When your department sets you up and your background check is done, you're going to get emails telling you that you have things to do in Workday. You're going to get what they call Work Lion tasks. So I'm going to refer to it as Workday because that's what we're actually working in. If you go in and you see that your benefits have already been elected for you, that's because I have to run that daily at this time of the year. So you should already be enrolled in medical, dental, and vision. And if you go under benefits and look at View My Benefits, you should see that your medical started August 13th and your dental and vision started September 1st. If you don't want those benefits, you want to waive out of those benefits, or you need to add dependents. I'm going to give you some step-by-step. Here's what you need to do. You need to go into Workline, log into Workline, and go into the Workday. In Workday, that benefits icon that we talked about, you're going to click on that. You are then, in that benefits icon, going to do a benefit change. You want to use an open enrollment for the benefit type, which is, it's alphabetical, so it's at the very bottom of your list. You're going to use August 13th for your date. You're going to submit that for approval to my office. So you're going to hit submit. My office is going to receive that, and depending on when you do it, either the next day or that same day, we will approve it that you can go in and make changes. What you will then do is you should get another email. So within 24 hours, 48, if it's the weekend, wait till Monday, but you will get an email and you'll be able to go back in and you're going to see another task in your inbox in Workday. You are going to go into that, and from there, it's going to have a screen that shows you for each benefit, waive, enroll, and you should already be enrolled in all three. If you want to waive, click the waive for whichever benefits. You can do whatever option of benefits you want. You want medical but not dental vision? Keep your medical, waive your dental vision. That's up to you. It's your decision what benefits you need. The next thing you're going to do is if you need to add dependents, you're going to scroll over to the right side of the screen and you're going to see where there's a dependence. You can right there from that screen add your dependents. You do not have to do a dependent event. You can either add existing dependents if you've done the dependent event, or you can use that existing dependents and add them to your benefits. You are then going to do the complete. Click to the next page at the bottom. It's going to say, I approve, submit. Now your benefits are done. So if you want to make changes to what is in Workday, go through Workday and look at them. Even if you take care of it this fall, they should follow you through your academic career. Here at Penn State, we strongly suggest every August checking them. It's a new system. We've only been in the Workday system for about a year and a half. Funky things have happened that we didn't know would happen, and so you need to make sure that your benefits are what you wanted. If nothing else, come your September stipend, check it again and make sure your stipend is correct and your deductions were taken. If you do not have deductions taken, you were not enrolled in the insurance. You need to be checking your benefits and verifying that information. If you waive the insurance in Workday, the medical insurance, you're going to need to take care of it in LionPath, do the waiver in LionPath. So, okay, all of you that are graduate students who didn't have assistantships, you can wake back up now because this is what you need to know as well. When you go into LionPath after you have registered for classes, about 48 hours after you've registered, you should have gotten an email that told you there was an activity guide, a to-do in LionPath. There's actually nothing to do with that activity guide. It's just telling you you need to take care of your insurance. When you enroll, you'll go into my information, my finances, and you'll go to the bottom there on the right. It shows the health insurance. You're going to click on that. It's going to take you to this page. So for internationals, this is an international student screenshot. It's going to say health insurance, and it's going to say enroll or waive. If you are a graduate assistant and have benefits through Workday, it's going to say you have benefits in Workday, and they're not going to give you any options. If you are not, so you're not going to have to do anything. If you have waived your benefits in Workday, you're going to within 48 hours, you're going to have that ability to waive here as well. So you want to go through here to do your waiver through LionPath. Enroll does not pay the premium for the insurance if you do not have an assistantship. All it does is give you access to your ID card before we finalize the files come September 4th. The deadline, as I just said, September 3rd is the deadline to take care of things. If you are a domestic student and you have waived out of the benefits and you do not want medical, dental, and vision, you need to still go back into Lion Path. There will be the options of waive or purchase. You'll go ahead, if you don't want the benefits as a graduate assistant domestic student, you'll click the waive and provide your insurance information. Even if you don't have insurance, there's an option for you to say, no, I don't have insurance, and no, I don't want it. But if you do want it, or you don't have an assistantship, as a domestic student, you'll be able to do the purchase. It'll take you to the site that you need to go to, and you will need to pay with a credit card. September 3rd is the last day to take care of things. If you do not take care of things, whatever is in the system for you at that point will be what you are enrolled in. So international students, if you have not taken care of Lion Path and you do not have an assistantship, you will be enrolled. If you are in Workday and you've not waived benefits, you will be enrolled, all of you. So if you do not want benefits, take care of it before the 3rd. Our office, as I said, is 201. Our phone number and our email are here. We are going to be out at the table. We've got stuff to give out to you, as well as information on the plan, as well as our contact and anything else. We'll have our account executives here as well, so they'll be here to answer questions about medical, dental, and vision. So please stop by, see us, pick up the giveaways, because I don't want to take them back to the office. And welcome to Penn State, and I wish you all the best. There you go. Okay. Here's the last slide. There. Thank you. Thank you for coming. We are finished with orientation. You're officially oriented. Welcome to graduate school.